Happy Mushoku Mondays, everybody. Welcome back to yet another check the Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation novel series. We are on Paul Gaiden, episode 7, I believe, of hopefully 7. We'll see how things go. As per usual, we'll kind of take it things as we go along, but it does seem like we do have, I don't know, a little bit more than usual pages to kind of end this off with, and I'm kind of excited to kind of carry on. I'm kind of excited to get into the next storyline that we're going to get into. I think the biggest kind of upset that I had with the Paul Gaiden series so far is really the last part. There was a lot of inconsistency back there, and I think it's really around the fact that, yeah, a lot of stuff that was covered in the previous Mushoku Monday, and we'll probably get more in this next one, is stuff that Refugin has done some stuff for. So we are seeing a bit of inconsistency based on what this other writer did with it, even though it was claimed to be supervised by Refugin. I think seeing a lot of things that are not quite lining up does sort of upset a little bit in the idea of how much was Refugin involved with this. So far, nothing like, oh my gosh, that character died. They weren't supposed to die. Nothing like that. I mean, just, you know, we had the whole situation with Rada showing up. We have the fact that it seems like Zenith was not on the Mills continent. It seems like she's at least gone 2 ranks up before Paul even met her. Unless, I don't know, from this canon, she got a little bit of an upgrade because she's a healer, and healers are so sought after. I don't know, maybe they give her a little extra bump because she's a healer. It seems like there's some inconsistency there. Nothing that's kind of bothering me so far, but it is sort of kind of dampered a little bit. But either way, it's some good stuff. I think overall, it's just kind of more stories into the realm of Mushoku Tensei that I just absolutely eat up. I mean, even with all that stuff, getting into Amaranth's final letter was still a massive gut punch, and I think they did a really good job with that stuff. And there's been some other stuff in there as well around Paul and how he's grown up, what sort of made him hate nobility and stuff. Give me a little bit extra clearer picture into that. It makes me, I think the big thing that I've kind of gained the most from Paul Gaiden's entire story is like, I want Refugin to do this. I want Refugin to make an entire volume on this stuff. I don't think he'd be settling with a volume. I think with how long this has been so far, I mean, this particular thing formatted into a PDF is like the length of a volume, but this is also 2 column, and I could totally see him having so much more inner dialogue and so much more inner perspective and stuff that would really, really flesh this stuff out. So yeah, if anything, it just makes us want a Paul Gaiden official book by him, which I think he should do. But anyways, that all said, thank you guys so much for the premiere. Hey chat, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday after Mushoku Monday. Greatly appreciate everybody that checks out the VOD later on. Thank you. Thank you for you guys' support, your kind words, sharing it out, hitting the like button. Hit that like button. It's free. You just click it and it helps out the channel. It's like, even if you don't have the ability to help in other ways, that's easy. It's right there. But yes, for everybody else, for those that do support the channel monetarily, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Supporting through Patreons, tips, links, super thanks, memberships, all that stuff. We have a lot of ways to support the channel. Like if you have a Amazon account, you can prime to our Twitch channel. That kind of stuff helps out a lot. But yes, as per usual, thank you. Nicholas, last week with 24 months, you hit that 2-year mark. Thank you, Nicholas, for your longtime support. Rose Moist with a super and 19 months. Thank you, Rose Moist. Your longtime support has been greatly appreciated as well. And Subro with a super. Thank you guys so much. It means a great deal to me that you guys part with your hard-earned money in order to support the channel. But yes, with all that said, let's just get into it. Let's see if we can wrap this up. Chapter 4. Contrary to Geese's concerns, Paul never laid a hand on Zenith. Good boy. Except to touch her buttocks as a greeting. And this did not cause any discord between the party. I like the idea of like, well, welcome to the party, Zenith. She's like, oh, hi. And then he's like, no. There you go. That's how I greet. Is that okay? It's such a stupid sleaze bag. It's such a dirt bag. I like how it's like trying to make it out like he's a good person, but it's like, nope, he still did something horrible. Everybody, look at this. Zenith popped into the tavern. After finishing her request, she had a big smile on her face with flushed cheeks. Oh, what's the matter? You're having a great time, aren't you? Yeah, Paul, you always say that. My bad. Paul raised his hand and had been touching Zenith's buttocks to the side of his face. He smiled goofily and apologized. Oh, so every single time he greets her. Okay, that's different. That's different, dude. Zenith, now completely accustomed to the situation, composed herself and turned to face the members of the party. Well, once again, look. I've been promoted to C-rank. Zenith went around showing her adventure card. The air of the second floor tavern brightened at once when they saw that her rank had changed from D to C. Oh, that's great. You already got yourself promoted.
Heartfelt congrats. Come on, I'll buy a drink.
I'll buy you a drink too. You can order anything you like. One more thing. If you get to B rank, you can officially join the party. Yes, I'm gonna work harder than ever. I can't wait to be a real part of your party. I feel so sad when you put it that way. It sounds as if our current relationship is fake. Oh, Ellen Elise. Ellen Elise came upstairs with languid movements. When you didn't come back, I thought you were off with some guy. Oh, nonsense. How could I not congratulate Zenith on such a festive day? Zenith was so happy about her promotion that she ran out of the guild. I'm sorry I left you there. I'm so embarrassed. I feel like such a child. She ditched Ellen Elise. Just ran off. That's cute. That's cute. From C rank on, there will be subjugation quests. With our help, you'll be promoted in no time. Yeah, I can imagine with a combat-ready party, helping with actual killing mobs would be much easier rather than, yes, jobs for looking for stuff or doing different tasks. These are quests that they can just wipe out easily. Subjugation requests. I'll be relying on you guys more than ever. Everyone present noticed a quick shadow on Zenith's face. Why do you look like that? It's fine. You can count on us. Yes, the right person for the job. Generally, I choose to run away in battle too. Leave it to those who are good at it. Well, Zenith will probably participate as a healer. You may be more useful than me in battle. Yeah, I can see that. Geese being able to relate to her in a lot in that regard. The fact that he's always on the sideline. That's sort of what I was talking about back there when they were talking about the idea of sharing credit and whatnot to the party members. And how, yes, a lot of people can see somebody like Geese, even though he's bringing information, he's bringing tools and whatnot to the trade, he shouldn't get that much. It's like the whole thing with the Teleportation Labyrinth. If they were actually a party going down there for money in the Teleportation Labyrinth, people would see certain individuals like, yeah, technically Lilia, not being as useful. But it's because they want to make sure to properly credit them and give them money for what they do outside of the Labyrinth that allows them to always be there and supply them properly. You gotta pay your people properly. Well, do what you're supposed to do. That's the basis of the party. You're certainly talking big, aren't you? It's hard to believe this is coming from a man who couldn't join a party until he joined the Fangs of Black Wolf. That's an interesting note there. I'm curious if that's actually true. That's actually interesting. And I can see Ellen Elise knowing this. Again, they've given a lot of indication that they've known each other before. Fangs. What's that? You're no different than me. You devoured men wherever you went. But you couldn't stay long and get kicked out. Yeah, we know that part. That's the part that we do know. Kicked out? I left on my own. I was seeking good-looking men. I didn't fail to join a party myself. That's not something you can brag about. Because people want you to join because they'll rip you off. You've been cheated and exploited every time you join a party. There were those who were bantering and talking casually with each other. It was a relationship when they could say what they wanted to say without hesitation. That's a good sign. If you can just, pick at each other and it just be fine, it's such a good sign. I think it's really kind of knowing the individual you're talking to and if they mean ill will. I think there's some people that I can totally just jab out constantly and it doesn't really get under their skin. They can jab at me, doesn't get under my skin, because we know in the end of the day, we're friends. There was no restraint on anyone. That was because everyone recognized everyone else's power. There was a trust and respect, even if they didn't say it out loud. Yeah, I think there's a good side of it if you can actually point out their good sides. Even if you can point out their bad sides, still recognizing what makes them good and acknowledging that is important. It's cozy, isn't it? With his friends arguing with each other, Paul took his place next to Zenith. It's much more comfortable than a noble's house. Huh? Did you notice? Okay. Zenith's eyes widened. Paul gasped at the look on her face. Well, the other guys must have noticed it too. They know that you're some kind of daughter of nobility. Do you think they didn't know? No, because no one said anything. Adventurers don't pry into each other's past. That's why I'm not going to say anything more about it. You said it. You said it. I do understand why someone will give up their life as a aristocrat to become an adventurer. Yeah, two of them are pretty much in the same exact boat. One is just because of the mother and one was because of the father. For those people, this must be the most comfortable place to be. I know, Paul thought, because I'm like that. Paul smiled, his eyes dazingly narrowed as he kept them straight on his companions. Oh, this group must mean a lot to you. Paul, you look like you love it. I don't have that look on my face. Oh, no, you did. Zenith giggled, and Paul scratched his cheek. He felt strangely restless when she was laughing next to him. Back then, at the guild, I'm glad it was Paul who helped me out. I didn't even realize I was being tricked. I left home to become an adventurer, and even been working hard on my own way. I had reached D rank, and I thought that it was time to start a party. I guess that's sort of a way of kind of saving the whole aspect of her technically being a newbie as an adventurer, yet still being D rank, is the idea that she was always doing things solo. She could have just been looking for dogs, helping people out, like low rank quests that don't require a party. And it's not until she actually tries to start a party that's when she's out of her comfort zone. You're a noble young lady who just ran away from home and didn't know anything about anything. Yes, I didn't know anything. So, when they approached me, I thought they were kind and nice people. Zenith gently closed her eyes. A soft smile was on her mouth, yet tears were spilling from between her closed eyelids. I felt so proud of myself to be recognized by an adventurer of a higher rank than my own, and to be sought after as a companion. This made me feel that I, too, had become a full-fledged adventurer. Just thinking back on those days made his heart ache. The 15-year-old girl let out her thoughts, and then crouched down, covering her face with her hands. Her thin shoulders were shaking. Paul's heart was troubled by the sight of her sobs, which she could not hold back. Please, don't cry. Even though he had seduced and played around with so many women in his life, he could not think of a single word to comfort her well. Yeah, because you're kind of a dirtbag. You're kind of a dirtbag. And it's so funny because that is sort of an interesting perspective there. The fact that his entire life he's been with so many women, but it was all for sex. Like, he didn't really care for a lot of those people. He had no feelings for a lot of those people. He just wanted to bang. And so when it comes around time for him to actually be a human, be a functioning person of society, he's out of his comfort zone. He's not used to dealing with these kind of emotions and dealing with people. I think the only real experience that he had with a person of nurturing is just his mother. That's it. Bang up, that's it. Hey, don't cry. He took her tear-stained hand. Crying doesn't suit you. Smile for me, Paul thought. I'll say that as I wipe away her tears. Weak and vulnerable women are easy to seduce. The rule of thumb says that one can shorten the distance by making her stop crying and comforting her, just as he has done with women in the past. And yet, what came out of Paul's mouth was not just words to a woman, but words to a companion. I know you're still hurting, and you still can't forget, but you're one of us now, Zenith. We all agree, Zenith. You're a full-fledged adventurer. So instead of saying crying doesn't suit you, smile for me, lady. Oh, let me turn on that riz for you. Let me work it out. No, you're an adventurer just like us. He's encouraging her. He's giving her words that she needs, not words that will suit him, is really the key thing there. Paul, thank you. Zenith wiped away her tears and smiled softly.
Paul, let's get a drink. We'll raise a toast. Zenith, you're a star of the show now. So come on over here.
Paul smiled back, and Talhan called for Paul and Zenith. They looked at each other. With the way Talhan is acting, I don't think he's going to let us sleep today. You better brace yourself, Zenith. Yeah, I'll do my best. Paul pulled Zenith's hand and stepped towards the table, where his friends were waiting for them. That's so cool. That's so cool. Massive growth for freaking Paul, which is so pathetic that this is like a growing point for him. Episode 2, S-rank party. Woo woo! Chapter 5. Even though Zenith had been promoted to C rank, she still had to be promoted one more rank to officially join the Fangs of the Black Wolf, the A rank adventure party. Nevertheless, Zenith had already been accepted by her fellow members, who treated her the same as they would treat their members. Actually, she was treated with more care and affection than anyone else. In the tavern where the Fangs of the Black Wolves gathered, all the members were present except for Ellen-Lise, who had gone off to end with the man that she had met. They go, okay, we know. All you have to say is all were there except for Ellen-Lise. We know. I'll go with you on your next request, so you could choose whatever you want. Are you sure? You also have a request for the Fangs of the Black Wolf, don't you? No problem. Really? Then I'll take you up on that. I feel reassured when I'm with you, Ghislaine. Yeah, I think Ghislaine's the only one that I would... Yeah, I think Ghislaine's the only one that I would feel comfortable with. Like, going on like, fighting quests, specifically. Because, yes, Ghislaine's gonna wreck anything. Like, she's their toughest fighter. Like, she is literally their most skilled fighter. But on the other end, like, I just feel like Ghislaine is just, like, this big teddy bear that protects. With, like, Talhand, I don't distrust Talhand, but I don't see Talhand as being a skilled fighter. Like, he has magic, earth magic and all that kind of stuff. He looks tanky. Like, this guy looks tanky. He could probably tank some hits, but I don't feel like he is, like, the most, like, damaging fighter. Ellen-Lise, yes, definitely Ellen-Lise protect. And she is very skilled. She's not the most impactful fighter, but at the same time, I would feel uncomfortable in the idea that I feel like she might get you mixed up in something. Like, her curse is going to get you mixed up in something. That's my fear for Zenith. It's like the whole situation with Roxy when she was traveling with Ellen-Lise. At some point, you're going to end up walking in a room and there's some 5 men in there. Geese, no, unless at some point he gets a nap. No, don't trust that guy. Do not trust going out anywhere with that guy. He's not going to protect Zenith at all. He'd probably cut and run the first chance that he gets. Paul, don't trust him. Something's going to happen while you're out there alone. So Ghislaine is like the only one I would trust with Zenith. Zenith smiled innocently, and Ghislaine returned the smile with her eyes narrowed. Geese approached the two, who had a friendly atmosphere about them. I'm coming with you. I can't leave you two ignoramus working together, Well, if Geese is with us, we'll have a nice dinner. That's true. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, I'll be with
What's the point in you coming along with a C-rated job too? With Ghislaine, we have enough strength.
Paul's getting kicked out. Geese is blocking Paul. Paul's words were immediately interrupted by Geese, who had a dismayed look on his face. Paul raised his eyebrows and looked displeased. Don't want me? Don't want me?
If you and Ghislaine were both helping out, would you need a healer for a C-ranked extermination request? No way. I kill him in an instant. You already get the idea then. Don't rob Zenith of the opportunity to hone her skills.
I know why Geese is saying this, but at the same time, that's actually really good logic. Dang, I hate to admit it, but you're right. Paul, thank you. This time, I'll take it as a compliment. Zenith smiled at Paul. Paul's face, which had been unhappy, softened. I'll let Ghislaine take it this time. Come with me next time.
Well, I'll go with you then.
What? Talhan, there's nothing to worry about. We'll be fine on our own.
Don't be stupid. I'm not going to see you and Zenith off alone together.
What? Why not?
Because you have zero credibility when it comes to that sort of thing.
That sort of thing? Zenith tilted her head as she didn't understand anything. Talhan, who understood everything, nodded his head repeatedly, as if to emphasize the point. Zenith was only 15 years old, younger than anyone else in the Fangs of the Black Wolf. For this reason, everyone is overprotective of her. Good. As if she were their own little sister. Good. Good. Fangs Black Wolf rep up. Everyone wanted to lend a hand to Zenith and prevent her from being alone with Paul, who would lay his hands on any women without a second thought. You guys. Yeah, like he did with frickin' Lilia. The edges of his mouth twitched, but he couldn't yell at them because he knew they were right. Oh yeah, I understand exactly what you guys are thinking. He decided to back off meekly this time. Paul turned to Zenith. Hey, Zenith. Yeah? Hurry up and get to B rank. Then let's get a bigger job together. Yes, I'll do my best to get the same job as you guys as soon as I can. I always feel like that's that moment where Paul goes, okay, if I don't accept what they're saying and just go along with it, they're going to elaborate. They're all going to elaborate if I don't just say, yes, I understand exactly, guys. Let's move on. The members of the Fangs of the Black Wolf were all talented people. With their help, Zenith quickly and surely completed the C rank request, and not much time passed before she was promoted to B rank, where she would be allowed to join the Fangs of the Black Wolf. Zenith's eyes sparkled as she stared at her adventure card at the guild. Her hands were trembling as she held the card. On it, name, Zenith Latria. Gender, female. I'm surprised that she put her last name on there. I don't think that she would have put her last name on there. That seems odd that she may have just done it just because she didn't know what the hell she was doing. She's like, oh yeah, of course, I'm going to put my full name on here. Paul was out of his way trying to not reveal his identity. Gender, female. Race, human. Age, 15. Occupation, healer. Rank, B. Party, the Fangs of the Black Wolf. A? Oh, I guess it says what the rank of the actual party is. Okay. Paul clasped her shoulder. She was unable to take her eyes off the newly marked party section. You did it, Zenith. You're now officially a member of the Fangs of the Black Wolf. Yeah, I never thought that I'd be one of you so quickly. Thanks to all of you. What's with that so quickly? That sounds like we're never friends before. We should have been friends by now. They keep bringing that up. Stop saying it that way. They hugged each other in joy and looked as if they were going to spin around and leap into the air if no one was watching.
You sure that's not going over the line?
Well, it's acceptable. Just barely, though. Oh, Paul's getting closer to her face.
What do you think you're up to? Kissing her out of sheer joy? You can't do that.
Overprotection was invoked. The members of the Fangs of the Black Wolf jumped on Paul and Zenith and pulled them apart. What the hell are you guys doing?
You're the one to blame. What the hell were you trying to do in the confusion?
Did you think that we would miss it? The party making noise in the guild drew disapproving glances from all around, but no one was about to speak to the Fangs of the Black Wolf. Thus, Zenith officially joined the Fangs of the Black Wolf, even though they didn't care a bit about formalities. Chapter 6. With a new healer in the ranks, the Fangs of the Black Wolves was steadily completing their A-rank work, and little by little, their fighting style began to change. Ghislaine, let's get stuck in. Yeah. The vanguard changed into a crowd of monsters and swung their swords. With the addition of the healer, they were able to cut deeper than before. Let this divine power be a nourishment, giving one who has lost their strength the strength to rise again. Healing. Thanks to Zenith's diligent application of healing magic, Paul and Ghislaine were able to fight without slowing down. Her work didn't stop there. Outside of the fighting aspect, she also worked exceedingly diligently. What was the procedure for taking lodging or preparing for encampment? Yeah, that's a pretty cool little kind of thing there. Which does, again, suck, the idea of not feeling like you're... feeling as if whatever you're doing in the battle itself is not adequate enough. Geese makes sense. he's not fighting at all in combat. So he has to do everything outside the combat. It's making food and all this other kind of stuff. And I would assume that he was doing a lot of this stuff as well, lodging and whatnot, doing research or whatever for whatever they're going up against. But Zenith herself is taking part in the combat. And so she should be doing equal as much as everybody else outside of the combat itself. Whatever Paul's doing, she would be doing. Whatever's, Gilane's doing, which is probably not much, she would be doing. But it is interesting to have them sort of putting the fact that they're getting more deeper into fighting. And again, not necessarily having to be too more concerned about the idea of taking damage just because she can heal. When she still has to touch them, she still has to put hands on them.
Zenith works too hard. Are you about to take my job?
While sitting around the table in the dining room attached to the inn, Geese looked at Zenith with a jealous look. I have no intentions of taking anyone's job. Besides, I wouldn't be able to take it because Geese's food is too delicious. I could never make it. Don't do it, Geese. Don't do it, Geese. And then Geese made the biggest mistake ever. This is the moment we're going to have Geese's worst mistake he has ever made his entire life. The reason why he never wanted to teach anybody else how to cook. Geese, your information gathering and preparation is flawless. And you can even pick your own ingredients, can't you? I think it's really great.
I'm sorry I've made it sound bad. I don't feel so bad when you say it like that.
Man, she buttered him up. Buttered him up. Don't get carried away. Ow! Paul stomped Geese's foot under the table. He had stepped on his pinky toe with precision. As you would expect from an A-rank adventurer. His skills are so precise he could step on the pinky toe.
But Paul, what the hell are you doing all of a sudden?
Shut up. My foot slipped. I don't like the way you do it. I don't like the idea of resorting to force just because a man other than yourself is being praised.
What's with it? I don't like it. How can you say that after making faces as though you thought it was funny? You're a woman with bad manners.
Damn, these two are always at each other's throat. Whenever one of them says something, someone's got to jab in. What do you mean? If you're trying to pick a fight with me, then why wouldn't I take you up on it? What? But both of you, don't fight. And Paul, if you stepped on his foot, you should apologize to him. When the table started getting noisy, Zenith hurried to intercede. Gillian was taking her foot into her mouth without seeming to mind. Apologize? Yes, that's right. Me? Zenith chided Paul, who looked as if he didn't want to admit that he was in the wrong. The others shrugged their shoulders as they watched. My goodness, I can't tell which one's the senior in the situation. Zenith's got him under control, that's why. And they're all loving it. Yeah, I guess so. They're like brother and sister. I can hear you. In the end, without apologizing to Geese, Paul grinned at Ellen Lise and Ghislaine. However, they weren't really angry. So even though their fangs were out, they laughed and took their positions next to Zenith. But if you're not going to make up with Geese, why don't you at least praise her good points? Her good points? I'm more at ease in battle because of Zenith. I'm fighting freer than ever before. Yeah, I think that's sort of a bad side too. You get a little more bolder and a little bit more reckless, and eventually you're going to take that hit that the healer can't heal. You were free to do what you wanted before Zenith came in, Paul thought. Who was the one rampaging around without thinking too hard? Paul, I'm thankful that Paul didn't say that out loud. Paul didn't say that out loud. Paul looked at Ghislaine, who was puffing out her chest with a dumbfounded look. It's only been a while since Zenith joined, but she's still able to handle A-rank requests without any problems. I guess we can do this. Convinced on his own, Paul suddenly said his idea. Let's go to a labyrinth.
Huh?
A labyrinth? Yeah, and not just any labyrinth. The most difficult labyrinth that even S-rank adventurers avoid challenging.
Are you serious? It's not a place that can be conquered on a whim, is it?
It's not on a whim. I've been thinking about this for a long time. The Fangs of the Black Wolf has a new healer named Zenith, and she's integrated perfectly into our group. It's about time.
You have a point. But Zenith has never been to a labyrinth before, has she? It'd be dangerous to go into a high-level labyrinth.
Well, yes, but when he looked at Zenith's face, her expression was hard, as if she was nervous about her first labyrinth dive. Paul moved his face closer to hers. Surprised by the proximity of his face, Zenith hurriedly moved away. Don't look at me like that. Talhan is right. Let's get into a reasonable labyrinth first. My gosh, thank you. Thank you. I thought it was going to be one of those stupid things where it's like, no, I know better. And then they go there anyways, and he conquers it, and there's nothing that, results to it. I like the idea of actually having some pushback for once. And then he goes, oh, yeah, he's right. The way that I see this is currently, it's similar to previously. When they come together, it seems like they just come together perfectly. It's the idea that it seems like these individuals are just so perfect for each other. It just works. If they don't have to work out all the problems, it just kind of works. And yes, they've had some time working together, going through all these quests, getting her built up, where they're seeing that, yes, she just works with our party. Like, we just work so well together. We're able to do what we need to do. We go back there, we get some heals from her, or get back out there again. They just have a perfect formation. They just come together just so perfectly. But going into a Labyrinth is different. Because again, you now have to deal with a lot of environments that you don't typically deal with. Typically out in the, out in the open, you're going around, you're slashing stuff up. All you have to worry about is the monsters around you, some threats around you. Is this tree a treant? Is this rock a treant, actually, in some cases? Are these monsters? Slash them down. Keep them away from Zenith. But when you're going into the Labyrinth, you also have to worry about traps. You have to worry about the environment itself being alive. And yes, technically Geese should be in the front, scoping things out, find the traps. But even if they do find the traps, you still have to worry about, is she going to be able to work around those traps properly? It's just like the whole situation with Roxy. Roxy went down there. She's been in Labyrinths before. But she slipped up and she stepped on something. She knew it was, I think even then she knew it was there. Because again, Geese was giving them a path. But she still stumbled and fell upon it. You have to know how to kind of deal with those traps being around you, even if you know that they're there. So she needs to get a sense of this kind of stuff before she goes into S-rank, where stepping on those traps is dead. Dead. You only get one shot. Dead. So it's good that he's actually backing down on this. I like that. And I think it could be an aspect that he does realize, oh yeah, that's right. I don't want her to die. And when Zenith gets used to the exploration, then we'll take on the most difficult labyrinth. That would be good, wouldn't it? I'll show you just how cool I can be. Just wants to show off. Dirtbag. Paul smiled with his face full of confidence. Then Zenith's expression gradually softened. You're always so confident. That's because I'm in front of a good woman. Oh, Paul, I don't like those kind of jokes. Zenith looked away with a huff. As a devout Mills believer, she was not very good with this kind of topic. Knowing this, Paul apologized with a simple, I'm sorry. Chapter 7. A few days later, the Fangs of the Black Wolf took on the challenge of conquering a labyrinth. A first for Zenith. So, this is a labyrinth. Yeah, looks like an interesting place, doesn't it? Oh, you say this looks interesting. Aren't you scared? Even though you're trying to be nice to me, a labyrinth is a dangerous place where many adventurers have challenged it and lost their lives, you know? That's why I'm excited. The labyrinth is a perfect place to test how good you are. Paul laughed in a light-hearted tone, and Zenith's eyes widened in dismay. It's so funny. It is kind of funny to kind of see such a stark contrast between Paul now and Paul that we see literally at the beginning of the story. This idea of this guy who's living in a house in the middle of nowhere, and this is the Paul that was, where he's just putting his life on the line just to run down in some dungeon. Yeah, it makes you feel alive. Yeah, let's go fight in a dungeon. An absolute lack of care for his own life and those around him in a way. I mean, he's not that he lacks care, because he's still going to fight properly, and he has that confidence and that strength and that ability. But still, Paul is just this kind of guy. It's a little nerve-wracking, having such a confident guy as a leader, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. Seeing the smile on Zenith's nervous face, Paul looked around at the members again. Okay, let's get started. We're going to do exactly as we discussed, okay? Roger that. Zenith, you ready? Yeah, let's go. Zenith's first time conquering the labyrinth goes smoothly, thanks to the help of the members of Fangs of the Black Wolf. Everyone seems to be in good shape, Paul thought. Paul smiled wryly. The Fangs of the Black Wolf is a party with a high individual combat power, but Paul also places emphasis on coordination and tactics. Since Zenith joined the party, they had been able to get along better than before. Can't believe just how much easier things gotten once we got a healer, Paul thought. I'll heal. Zenith's skills were definitely improving since she had officially joined, partly because she'd been taken around on A-rank requests. Fangs of the Black Wolves moved through the labyrinth faster than expected, and when they approached the halfway point, they decided to make camp. Oh, Geese, I'll help you.
Yeah, I'm fine over here. Just rest.
No, I could take a rest on my own.
But, hey, Paul.
What? Paul, who was preparing a tent with Ellen Lise, turned around when Geese called his name. Seeing the expression on Geese and Zenith's face, Paul approached them. Geese, we're good here.
Oh, I'm going to get ready for dinner.
Oh. When Geese was gone, Paul pulled Zenith's hand and made her sit down on a flat piece of rubble by the wall. Silence fell between them. Zenith was the first to speak. I think I could still do more. You say so. But if you had to put in effort just to keep moving, it doesn't mean you're okay. Seeing Zenith's hurt expression, Paul realized that he had misspoke and gasped. I said that, but don't get me wrong. There isn't a single person who thinks that Zenith is dragging us down. There's obviously an effort here where they're trying to get her to chill out. Like, you're doing too much, you have to rest too. If she's using her mana, she has to rest. That's what I was saying earlier. Geese, it makes sense. This boy, he's not in the combat. He's on the outside. He can do this stuff whenever they're resting. He can set up camp. He can make food, all this other stuff. Because he's not expending mana and doing stuff in combat itself. Zenith, you're using mana. You are doing your part. Take a chill.
I know you're doing your best, but this is your first time in a labyrinth. You must be tired, right? Your task will be important in fights. When the time comes, you have to push yourself, even if you feel like you can't. Rest while you can. Right, I agree with what you said, Paul. I'm sorry, I was being a little stubborn. Zenith took a deep breath. As a result, she felt calmer, and her shoulders relaxed, and the tension seemed to have dissipated. I'm gonna get some rest. I had to fulfill my role as a member of the party. After all, you finally accept me as one of your own. Finally, we've accepted you for a long time now. Paul tilted his head, not knowing what she meant. But it was the first time you're talking to me in such a relaxed way. Did I? Yes, he did. It was not something that Paul was consciously aware of, but he may have been, had he been told. Silence began to pass between Paul and Zenith. Zenith quietly moved away from Paul without saying anything. A distance was created between them. Paul tilted his head. What is it? No, it's nothing. Then why did you just move away? Because Geese and the others told me not to get too close to you, Paul, and because I think it's better for me too. I understand the reason before. Yeah, they've told her, obviously, at this point. They've obviously, at this point, told her he likes to sleep with women. Dude's just constantly bedding women. There isn't a single person that he has laid his eyes on that he has not banged at some point. He's going to come after you. Keep that in mind. It's going to happen. And from her perspective, as we know already, and it's probably going to get into it now, for her perspective as a follower of Millis, I'm not your target. It's not going to end well with me because you're going to want to bed me, and that's not going to work for me. That's going to be bad for me. It's against my religion that you would do something like that and not be my pair. We would have to get married for that. And there could be a part of it in seeing that will cause problems here. I've been accepting this group, and I like this group. I don't want this to kind of get me messed up. And I think that's something that Paul, unfortunately, doesn't really see all too much, is will this damage the party? Even though he loves it so much. He's in 70 before. I really don't want to mess this up. I understand the reason before, but what makes you feel the same way, Zenith? Because I know what I'm talking about. You and your relationship with Ghislaine and Eloise. She looked at Paul and released the words. Her brow wrinkled and sunburned. Our relationship? I mean, we're party mates, right? Don't try to make a fool out of me. You're together as party mates. And as man and woman, aren't you? It was actually so. So he couldn't say anything on the spur of the moment. When Paul shut up, Zenith blurted out, I knew it. I found out about your relationship when I officially joined the Fangs of the Black Wolf, and we were doing A-rank requests. Zenith gently lowered her gaze. She learned of the relationship between Paul and the other two in an old inn in the town where they had stopped by on their way to complete a request. The walls of the inn were thin. It was the middle of the night. Zenith woke up, thirsty, and noticed noises coming from the next room. I believe Ghislaine stayed next door, she thought. Listening carefully, there was more than one voice to be heard. Paul? Ghislaine's erotic moans could be heard through the thin wall. Oh my gosh, he was banging her while Zenith was in the group. I did not think that was coming. Oh no way, the two of you are in such a relationship, she thought. The voices wouldn't go away completely, even if she covered her ears. Zenith had to spend the night with bright red face. My gosh, this poor girl. Oh, this poor little church girl. It's the worst. At the time, Zenith thought they had a special relationship. It was not so unusual for two friends to get together in the adventure party. That's good. That's so good. You really are insatiable, you know. I can't let Ghislaine have all the fun with you in a three-way. Okay, it's not just while Zenith was in the party, he's having a threesome with him. Oh my god, dude. Oh, Paul has no shame. Damn. I didn't think there was ever an implying the fact that they went all three at the same time. Holy crap, Ellen Elise. Not that I blame the guy. It's just so funny because you assume that Paul, like right now, is targeting after Zenith, and he's doing this crap at the same time. It's different cultures, really what it is. It's just different culture. So a few days after realizing this relationship with Ghislaine, Zenith was shocked to learn that Paul was also having an affair with Eloise. Okay, so they're implying that these are two different moments. Okay, they're implying this is two different moments. Okay, they're implying this is two different moments. A few days after the thing with Ghislaine, she was shocked to find that he was also with Eloise. Okay, I thought they had a threesome. I literally thought they had a threesome. When she was up so close to both of them, as women who love their sister, Zenith remembered something Geese had said to her once before, "Don't be stupid. I'm not going to see you and Zenith off alone together, because you have zero credibility when it comes to that sort of thing." That's the kind of thing they were talking about, Zenith thought. The young man who invited her to a party, a bit of a frivolous man, but a dependable leader. That was the impression that Zenith had of Paul. That was completely shattered. It was only natural that she changed the way that she looked at Paul, both as a Millis believer and as a young woman of her age. Zenith opened her eyes. "I love Paul, Ghislaine, and Eloise. I trust you all as friends and respect them, but I still think it's strange. I don't understand, especially you, Paul. Why are you having an affair with both of them? Not just the two of them. You're getting your hands on women everywhere you go. Not acceptable to a devout Millis believer, is it? It's against the tenets of the church, isn't it? You have to love one person. That's one of the tenets." Zenith looked serious. She looked at him with her honest and clear eyes. He felt as if he had done something wrong and couldn't calm down. "Hey, Paul, is it difficult for you to love only one person?" This is interesting because this is a judgmental aspect of this with Zenith, and this is obviously something that's ongoing with it's a church aspect in general. It's a belief aspect, really, is what it is. It could be a church thing. It could be a cultural thing as well. It doesn't have to involve a religion. It's just, this is what you grew up thinking. This is what your family always did. This is what you always believed was true. All of your family did it this way. Your culture did it this way. Your community always did it this way. And now you're in somewhere else, and it seems foreign. It doesn't make sense. Again, Zenith was very, very closed off from reality in the world itself. That's the whole aspect of her becoming an adventurer and just being nearly swindled and brought into a really bad situation. Not having an inkling in her mind that the people before her could be possibly trying to trick her. You have to be pretty trusting to just walk out in the middle of nowhere and expect that everybody is being truthful to you. And not having a side of you that almost goes, I should probably be careful about the situation. They might be lying to me. They could possibly do something wrong to me. Don't go out to middle of nowhere with some random people you just met. Things could go south. But I like the fact that it doesn't seem like she's being very judgmental. She's pointing out what she sees, and she's just questioning it. Is it difficult for you to love only one person? I do feel like she is sort of building into the possibility of, like, I kind of like you, but you wouldn't be able to be with me because it doesn't seem like you would follow what I believe is true. And it's that simple. It's not, Paul, change your ways, you're disgusting, you're a bad person. It does point out that she has changed her perspective of him upon finding this out, but she's not telling him to stop. She's just saying, is it hard for you to do that? Because otherwise we won't work. That's why I'm moving away from you. We would never work out because you're going to expect something from me, and I can't accept it because it wouldn't work out with me and my religion and my beliefs. But even still, she looked at him with honest and clear eyes. He felt as if he'd done something wrong and could not calm down. I like this entire life of no shame in what he does. All the stuff that he's done. All the horrible things he's done as well. How just absolutely dirtbaggery he is when it comes to women. She just looks at him this one time and he feels like he did something wrong. Girl looked at him with, like, the eyes of Millis are upon you. Boy, the eyes of Millis are upon you. As Paul was unable to answer, Geese, who had finished preparing the encampment, came to call them both over. Paul and Zenith looked at each other in silence, and then looked away. To love only one, Paul thought. Is that normal for Zenith? What is love? What does it even mean to love? The more he thought about it, the more his heart was stirred. Again, that was sort of what I got a feeling of they're kind of setting up for coming into meeting Zenith was, everything's perfect, but I'm missing something. And now I have a feeling that's never been there before. What could it be? Oh, we need a healer, that's right. What is love? Baby, sorry. I don't understand a lot of things, Paul thought. But there's some things I understand. Zenith is beautiful. Not only in appearance, but also in what the eyes can't see. Oh my gosh, not just her physical body? Or are you talking about what your eyes can't see because she has clothes on? Whatever's underneath those clothes is what I want to see. They're beautiful. I must not touch her out of greed. She's the kind of woman who must be cherished. Damn. Okay. Unlike everybody else, they can't be cherished. Only this woman must be cherished. Everybody else can be tools. Right, Paul? Right, Paul, you dirtbag? A woman's face appeared in Paul's mind. The image of Zenith overlapped with the... Oh my god, they're not doing this, are they? You're not going to say his mom. Don't say her mom. The image of Zenith overlapped with that person who was already only in his memories. Yep, he sees his mom in Zenith. Mommy issues. I mean, that's sort of a commonality that a lot of people have. It's like that whole idea of find a woman that is like your mom kind of thing, which some people see as weird, but some people see as a good thing. Like if you have a good nurturing mother, it sort of is almost that symbolism of you kind of want to expect that you can find somebody like that who would raise children equally as well. But again, it goes back to that idea that it was an expectation at some point that would be sort of Paul's mindset as he was frantically trying to save Zenith, was not just, this is the mother of my children and I want to get my family back together and I love her very much as my wife, but add on to that, I failed to save mom, I'm not going to fail again. That was probably why he wanted to talk with Zenith more. He's like, Mommy, I mean Zenith. Mommy, I mean Zenith. Can we talk again? Chapter 8. After the meal was over and the others had gone to sleep, Paul invited Zenith to join him. Perhaps because they talked earlier, he was not rejected even when it was just the two of them. Zenith, I thought about what you said to me, but to tell you the truth, I don't really understand it. I don't even know if the feelings I've had for the women that I've met was love in the first place, because the only person I can say I ever loved with all my heart was my mother. Your mother? Zenith's eyes widened. She never would have thought that Paul would miss his mother. I do understand why some would give up their life as an aristocrat to become an adventurer. Remember how I said that to you before? Yes, of course I remember. The day that I was promoted to C-rank. Oh, I'm just like you. I left my aristocratic position, my responsibilities, my home, my family, and I just jumped out of everything. Thus Paul began to tell the story of his life so far. He told everything about himself that he'd never told anyone, including his time as a notorious gray rat, the reason why he ran away, his life in the slums, and what he did before he became an adventurer. Did you tell her that you... Did you tell her what you did to Lilia? Doubt. Zenith listened sincerely to Paul's past, sometimes angry, sometimes laughing, and sometimes shedding real tears. She is there for Paul's life so far. She was angry at the time that Paul's father and brother treated him and affirmed his mother's love for him. He's glad for the sympathy that she shows him, and he told everything without hesitation, except for Lilia thing. I doubt. I wasn't my father's ideal successor, so my position at home fell lower and lower, and after my mother died, it was gone altogether. It was just a big, cold, empty place. Home for me was such a place at the end, you know? So I had no hesitation in abandoning my family and my home. He never regretted running away. Even when he heard the news of his father's death, he never wished that he had not abandoned the house. I think I was looking for something. What is it? What are you looking for? Something I've always wanted. Paul let out a small breath and looked up into the emptiness. In the dim ruins, his mouth continued to spill out his feelings. I thought I got it when I spent time with my friends here at the Fangs of the Black Wolf and found out what my father left me on his deathbed. You say that like it's not the case anymore. It's cozy here, and everyone is nice. So I started to think that maybe I got it, and just assumed I had it. I couldn't imagine being happier than I am right now, even though I haven't really found it. What did you want so much, Paul? A place to stay? Someone you could trust? Paul's eyes, which had been reflecting nothingness, turned to the person next to him. He stared at her, as she stared back at him. Love. What? What I really, really always wanted from the bottom of my heart was someone beautiful who could accept and embrace me as I am, like a mother who loved me. I wanted a warm home, a warm family, a love that was there, no matter what form it took. It's actually a very big leap. This is probably the first time I'm kind of let down on how they kind of built into this. Again, all the indication we have here so far is that at some point when he was having everything that he wanted, he felt like he was missing something. I made the joke back then, like, oh, it's obviously love. Oh, that last person is going to be Zenith because Zenith hasn't shown up yet. She's going to be the last thing that he was looking for. And then boom, there she is. But shifting from like, yeah, him groping every now and then and everything, and then suddenly, boom, I want a family. It's a bit of a jump. It's a bit of a jump. I was hoping there'd be a little bit more build up into this. It's all right. It's all right. All right. Because again, the reason why it's important is because we know from what we heard of in the mainline series, he's being truthful here, because what happens if this is that point, I'm assuming it's that point, he is going to literally fall through this. He's going to be honest. This is honesty here, that this is a choice that he makes that ends up ultimately taking apart the entire party, disbanded upon this point. Well, anyways. Think about what love was. That was the answer that Paul gave. The Fangs of the Black Wolf was comfortable, and he might have no qualms with calling his trusted friends his family. But it was like a family, no matter how far it went. Paul realized that. I'm the same way. Zenith's gentle arms embraced Paul. He gasped as his head was gently pulled to her chest. My heart aches so much. I know what you are longing for. Zenith's warmth enveloped him. her scent, her voice, and her body heat calmed Paul's heart. Zenith, I also ran away from my home because I wanted a warm home, a family, a love that was there no matter what form it took. I was the opposite of Paul because I clashed with my mother. Unlike my brother and sister, who lived up to the expectations, I could not be the lady that my mother wanted me to be. A lady, huh? My mother was very strict in her education, and she did not allow me to be weak. To all eyes, I was to be beautiful, pure, and a lady to be proud of. That was my mother's ideal daughter. Yep. She was very strict. Good old Claire, the mother I hated the most before I met Amaranth. Zenith talked about her past. Her story was one no one else could possibly have heard. Their circumstances were so similar that Paul could easily understand the feelings Zenith would have been experiencing at the time, and got the eyes to see it. What? Zenith's mother's not a good judge of character. There's no better woman than you. I can definitely see this being a very prime way that the two of them come to meet each other. And I don't think I really ever connected that too much back when I read their stories. I guess when it would be the point which we started getting into Zenith, because we kind of knew a bit about Paul before then, and the fact that he hated the aristocracy. Again, we don't really get exactly what caused that, other than his father being strict. But I think more so now than ever, getting a clear picture of what Paul went through, the two of them are just perfect. Like, they both understand each other very well. Not so much that means they have to be perfect for each other, but more so the idea that there is an element here where, because they are so understanding of their own suffering, they're able to understand each other, struggle together, relate to each other so well, understand each other's pains. Oh, for heaven's sake, you keep teasing me like this. Zenith was so angry while hugging Paul in her arms. She was so cute and warm that even though she was angry with him, he couldn't help but laugh. I'm not making fun of you. Liar, you're laughing. Well, you know, it's because you're special. Special? I've never been so vulnerable in my life. Zenith, I think the reason I was able to talk to you was because you were the one I could talk about this with. The two of them looked at each other silently. In their eyes, there was only a reflection of each other. The distance between them grew closer and closer from either side. Paul heard someone moving in the tent where the members were resting their bodies. Paul huffed and turned his attention in that direction. Geese, wake up or you will regret it. My gosh. Paul, you take your turn. I'll take watch. Was that Zenith with you? I was having a hard time getting sleep. It was Geese, who came out with a sigh. He nodded along with his arms crossed, as if he was satisfied with Zenith's words. Oh, I see. It's your first time in a labyrinth, isn't it? I can understand why you were nervous and can't sleep. But, you know, going through a labyrinth is an endurance sport. You better go lie down, even if you just close your eyes, right? Yeah, I will. Paul, Geese, good night. Paul watched Zenith's back as she walked into the tent, covered his face with his hands, and exhaled deeply. As soon as I thought, don't let greed get the better of you. This is what happened. If Geese hadn't woke up, I'd be... Paul scratched his head, and Geese looked at him suspiciously, but he didn't have time to pay attention. With mixed feelings, time passed. After that, the fangs of the Black Wolf easily conquered the labyrinth, and Zenith's first time at the labyrinth ended with no major problems. Surprised this wasn't the time? I guess that makes sense. They got that ice broke. They come to understanding there. Now Paul can make the ultimate decision. I'm surprised she didn't bring up the idea that it would have to be me or nothing. But again, I assume that's going to be the case the moment that they're about to do it, because I think that's what they kind of implied. The moment they were about to do it, she said, you can do it, but you have to agree to the terms of service. He's like, nobody reads that terms of service stuff. Get that out of my face. The party didn't change after the conquest due to the low difficulty of the labyrinth, but some things did change. Hey, Zenith, I think the next labyrinth should be in this area. It would be a little bit difficult than before, but I leave it to your judgment, Paul. Oh, I have something to do with Geese. Oh, okay. It had been a while since the labyrinth dive. There was some awkwardness between Paul and Zenith. Oh no, she's trying to put some distance. What have the two of you been up to? You're acting strange. Well, even if you ask me. Paul followed her figure with his eyes, and she was talking to Geese about something. Is it because of what happened in the labyrinth? Because I tried to kiss her that time? The awkwardness between them didn't disappear for a while. However, because of their individual abilities, the Fangs of the Black Wolf was able to conquer labyrinths smoothly, and within 6 months, they were able to take on the highest difficulty labyrinth. Again, glad they're actually taking their time to ease into it. Chapter 9. The highest difficulty labyrinth was a ruin that led underground, and the entrance was lined with cobwebs. This is another nasty-looking place, but we can definitely make it. Let's go to this place and get to the top. The top. That's our grand goal. Well, I guess when you say that you'll do something once, you really go for it. Paul and Geese, the scout, each lit a torch, and the Fangs of the Black Wolf stepped into the labyrinth. I don't know if I have much of a choice, but torches are in the way, you know? It takes up one hand. It's dangerous to go without light in this darkness. I know. Stop talking nonsense. And let's go in. The labyrinth was filled with many monsters, as it was known as a difficult place. There was many spider monsters, so it was no wonder that the entrance was covered with their webs. Ellenlise, understood. You want to raise the vanguard line, don't you? Leave the back to me. Oh, Ghislaine and Paul cut down the monsters. Although he could not use any big spells in the ruins, Talhan delivered his spells with precision to help the vanguard. Zenith, I'll cast healing. Let its divine power be a nourishment, giving one who has lost their strength the strength to rise again. Healing. It was only for a moment. It was a slight discrepancy that no one at an average party would even care about. It was really a minor thing, and in fact, Fangs the Black Wolf was able to progress steadily underground without struggling in this difficult labyrinth. When they had descended several levels towards the innermost part of the labyrinth, the Fangs the Black Wolf found a place they could rest safely and decided to camp there to recover. Zenith, may I? Yes? He stopped Zenith, who was about to prepare some food, and took her to a place a little away from the others. Paul, what's wrong? I think individual ability is important, but if we work as a party, coordination and tactics are more important than individual ability. I think the coordination between us was disturbed for a brief moment today. We weren't in sync. Did you notice that? In a normal fight, it wouldn't bother me. It's the difficulty of this place that brings that disturbance to the surface. You mean I wasn't good enough to take on the highest difficulty labyrinth? That I couldn't keep up with everyone? No, that's not the case. What you were able to do before, you can't do now. I think you know. Something that's different between us since that night, right? That's not true. Zenith tried to deny it, but shook her head without saying the end. Yes, you're right. You've been avoiding me this whole time. Why? Paul pressed Zenith, who looked uncomfortable. Yeah, it's sort of seeing that sign that there's something kind of struggling back there. It said like it's a small little thing that an average group wouldn't notice or something like that. But again, when you're in this high caliber, you're in an S-rank labyrinth, you're in a very difficult labyrinth, you kind of need to not have those pauses. That time, I opened my heart to and told you everything. My past, my thoughts, everything. And I thought that you, Zenith, had also opened your heart to me. Was it my imagination that I felt this distance between us getting closer? It was your imagination. It's not anything. I could tell you how I felt. Something I never told anyone. Then why are you avoiding me? It's because... Zenith glared at Paul, who was raising his voice. Paul gulped at the intensity of her glare. It's because of you, isn't it? What? What are you saying? It's my fault? You said I was special. You keep telling that I'm special, but you've been laying your hands on other women all this time. It's like it's so obvious to her and it just doesn't seem to click for him. He's still doing that? This is love. This is the one I want. She's so perfect. Everything seems so perfect. I love her so much. It seems like I want to have a family with her. It's the thing I've been missing this whole time. He's still banging other women. Again, he doesn't see it as wrong. Again, in this world, only people of Millis feel that way. It's like the whole thing with Rudius and the idea of him having a harem. Him having anybody besides Sylphie. It was like this whole like upset that people have. Like, oh my gosh, it's going the harem route. It's just normal in that world. Again, Sylphie's like, sure, if you need somebody else, bring him on in. Come on, Rudius. If you love him, bring him on in. It just doesn't, it's not weird there. Only the people of the Millis Church. Zenith. That's the only person that's going to seem weird to. She's an outsider. Literally in the scenario, in this area, I'm assuming they're still on the central continent. In this area, besides, like, again, there's some areas where the Millis Church is in. It's normal. And even areas where the Millis Church is in, they still do it. Like, the royals still do it. Nobility still does it. You keep telling me I'm special, but you've been laying your hands on other women all this time. On Elise, on Ghislaine, on girls that you meet in the bar. Is that why you've been avoiding me? Because I've been messing with other girls? No, I didn't. That's not what I meant. I was avoiding you because I wasn't sure how I felt about it myself. I'm like, you, a womanizer, someone who ignores Mills' teaching, who doesn't care about getting into trouble, and is reckless all the time. I'm supposed to hate you, so why did I want to entrust my heart to you? Paul's heart was in turmoil as he listened to her. I guess that's interesting. I didn't really think of Zenith's perspective with this whole thing. I would assume it's an aspect that, yes, she found him very charming. He's a strong man. He protects her. He's got a good heart down inside. And that's the assumptions that I have with Zenith's perspective of this whole situation. But I never thought about the idea of, you're so in conflict with my beliefs, why would I trust in you? And I assume that at some point in this whole thing, there's going to be a point where Zenith has to give up something. This is my belief, and she's holding hard to it, but she's going to have to bend a little bit. I assumed at some point she's going to bend. It's just like Cliff. With Cliff's whole situation, he bends a little bit. And I think a lot with Cliff, and what I respect with Cliff, is that he kind of digs into the actual word. Not the teaching, he digs into the word. This is what the church teaches, because they sort of do put a lot of politics in with their teaching in order to gain their control. Cliff is straight down to the core of the writing. That's like the whole situation in that room. Did Millis not say, does the scripture not say this? Oh, that's right. You don't read it no more, right? You just say this is how it is. Trust me, bro. It's in there somewhere. Don't question it. I know what it says. I interpret it the proper way. Cliff goes, no, I read it, and this is what it says. Did you not read that part? Why are you doing this? Did you not read that part? But then it's different. From her perspective is that she's following this, and this is the culture she was raised in, but she's going to have to bend a little bit. And I think there is a conflict that she has with that. I'm told to not like people like you, but I want to. Paul was in turmoil as he listened to her words. When did it all begin? The first thing that came to Paul's mind was that Zenith had become an irreplaceable woman, so much so that he could be easily swayed by her with a single word. I do like this aspect of their relationship building. With every other woman, Paul controls them with his words. This is the first person that controls him with her words. He's stuck on everything. Everything she's saying, I'm stuck on. Why is that the case? That doesn't happen. What's going on? Swayed by every single word. I'm of the Mills faith, and originally I would have despised you and hated you, but I couldn't stay away. Even now, when we're together, I don't know anyone else like you. Even though you have the ability to catch everyone's eye and change everyone's entire life. Someone with loneliness in his heart who is struggling to find love. Someone you can't leave alone. Aww. Zenith looks at him as this big, massive, strong teddy bear that has this little spot right here. If I poke this, he'll probably collapse. He's got this little crack right here. I can see the crack. He won't show anybody else that crack, but I see the crack. He showed it to me. I shouldn't like him because he's full of stains, but he's strong, and everybody needs him. That crack, I can't leave it. I can't leave that crack alone. Why am I drawn to that crack that I can easily feel? His heart burned. It was as if she was waiting for him with open arms, as if to say, all you have to do is jump in. Paul embraced Zenith. When he hugged her slender and soft body, his heart was hot. Paul, relax a little. You don't have to be like that. I won't run away. You are special. If you tell me I'm special, I want to reciprocate that sentiment. Loving eyes gazed at Paul. Smiling, she gently caressed Paul's cheek with her small hand. I will be Paul's home. I want to be a family with you and have a warm, happy home. It sucks when I read that part, I immediately think of how it all ends. It sucks. This is like the major point right here of literally, let's have a family, Paul. And how does it end? The very end. I still to this day, I hate the fact that she wasn't conscious for any of that. It sucks. Are you sure? Paul couldn't believe the two happy words and asked. Zenith nodded with a smile. Yes, it's true. So you could be my home too. Accepted, and I was able to get it, Paul thought. He was able to share his feelings with the woman he knew he had to cherish. Joy and relief were mixed in his heart. With Zenith, we could be a family. A warm, compassionate family. Oh yes, of course. We could be a family together. His heart was filled to bursting. It may have been foolish to lose one's cool in the labyrinth, but Paul didn't think his current exuberance would be a bad thing. And Paul's hunch was right on target. A few hours later, the Fangs of Black Wolf resumed its conquest, advancing through the labyrinth more swiftly than yesterday. Paul swung his sword aggressively, if not enough to break formation. He's super freaking happy. That's sweet. Again, I didn't think that was going to be that way. I literally thought that it was going to be they were together, friends and all this kind of stuff, and then the moment he goes to lay her down, the moment he goes to bed her, finally goes after her, that was the point where she says, if you do this, you take responsibility. And he goes, yes, ma'am, let's do it. And then he actually follows through with it. Because that's the shock there. And that's why I think this is sort of probably a little bit too much added to it. It's sweet. This stuff is really sweet because, again, I think this is really cool to kind of see, again, how Paul had all this pain from his childhood and his life and nobility and losing his home and not having a pillow to put his head down on, a place to call home, a wife waiting for him, all that kind of stuff, a family, building a family. He wanted that. This is the thing that he, in the end, lost and desired, and she's going to give that. And she has the same problem. She lost this and desires it. And they're able to fill their own cracks and able to complete that mold. But it sort of adds a bit too much to, again, what I thought was originally there, which was he wanted it, she allowed it, but said on one condition that happened, she got pregnant, and they were shocked that he actually followed through. That's the key thing. They were shocked that he actually followed through. This doesn't make me feel any shock that he wouldn't follow through. Because this much is established beforehand, the moment that happens, well, of course, they already said back here they were going to be a family. So there's a little bit of a negative aspect added to that little extra information. Now, granted, that was a lot of other people's perspective, I believe, that were shocked that he would have followed through. Zenith shouldn't be shocked. Paul won't be shocked because they've already made this statement here. What happened to Paul? He seems more enthusiastic than ever.
I don't know what happened to him, but he's great spirits. He's moving as well as Ghislaine.
Paul's sharpened sword surprised the members who had seen him fight close up, and at the same time attracted their attention. With his mind unleashed, Paul fought so strongly, so beautifully, so fiercely, and in no time at all, he reached the innermost part of the labyrinth. It's kind of the same sort of sign that we got from the teleportation labyrinth. How, like, more furious he got the moment that he's seen Zenith. I mean, just fighting down the labyrinth itself, probably a lot of that has to do with that determination. Like, strength through determination. Any other time, it's through wealth, or it's through money, it's through reputation or whatever. Now it's love. Love. The Fangs of the Black Wolf had successfully navigated the labyrinth, which had been considered a difficult place, without suffering any casualties, and the party was promoted to S-rank, which is coveted by all adventurers. Except for Rudius. Except for Rudius. He don't care. Episode 3, The Fangs of the Black Wolf dissolved. Nice title right after that. They achieved S-rank. They dissolved. Paul's like, I got my achievement. I'm good. I got my platinum trophy. Peace out, guys. Now it's time to go get my family achievements done. Chapter 10. The fact the Fangs of the Black Wolf had conquered such a difficult labyrinth quickly spread throughout the world through the mouths of fellow adventurers and merchants. The party was instantly promoted to S-rank and became so admired, respected, and feared that it was said that the Fangs of the Black Wolf had no enemies. Immediately after promotion, Paul and his team went to the King Dragon Realm. They were welcomed by many people. Oh, this is a spectacular sight. All over the place. People. What's going on? What's the commotion? What's the big deal? They're welcoming us. Welcoming. Elaine didn't seem to get it and tilted her head as if she had no idea what was going on. Don't you understand? I don't understand it. This has never happened before. Well, I guess so. He's like, it's never happened to me either, but I still get it. We had so few welcoming parties from rich and powerful people who wouldn't take advantage of our power. But this is the first time we've had a whole city come out and welcome us. The Fangs of the Black Wolf have been half well received and half bad received. But things have changed. After all, we've become S-rank party that silences even crying children. What? The Fangs of the Black Wolf. Silences crying children? What? Geese boasted proudly. His face was full of confidence.
Men and women of all ages return. It's like a triumphant parade.
It would have been nice if it was as formal as a real triumphal parade. What? It's coming. What do you mean, coming? Zenith questioned, but arrived at the answer without needing to be told. The crowd rushed in on them. It was natural behavior when he's seen a famous person. I want to get close to that person. I want to talk to them. If it's possible, I want to touch them. If it were a triumphal parade, there would have been people guarding the parade. But, okay, I was wondering where this is all going. I wish it was actually set up with barriers because here they come. But here, there was no one to stop them, and the crowd rushed at them, all seeking the Fangs of the Black Wolf.
We'll meet up at the usual bar.
Ayo. What? If they stayed together, they'd get stuck. In a spur-of-the-moment decision, the members chose to disperse. In the midst of this, Zenith was bewildered and wide-eyed. You know Paul's going to save her. Yep, Zenith, let's go. Oh, yeah. Paul took Zenith by the hand and started running. Each member also ran at once. Paul avoided the crowd and entered a narrow alley. He proceeded along the integral path with Zenith hand in tow. Hey, Paul, where are you heading? Yeah, there's a bar that the Fangs Black Wolf always uses when we come here. I'm going there now. Sure, you're going to take her somewhere else. You know it. Right, I got it. Being away from the downtown area, Zenith took a break. By the way, that was amazing earlier. It was like the whole city was there. It's hard being famous, isn't it? Paul recalled the sight of the crowds surging in, shrugging his shoulder and laughing. But you don't feel bad, do you? You look like you're feeling all delirious. What? What's that look on your face? There's no reason to be stolen. You don't believe me, do you? Because there were some beautiful women, and you like it when people do favors for you. Don't you, Paul?
She immediately like, yeah, you probably wanted all that you just passed up.
Zenith glanced up and down at Paul, as if looking for his reaction. Well, I am a guy too, and I don't feel bad about it, but I have a special woman named Zenith. I don't think I'm going to look away from her.
Right. Yeah.
Her response was curt, but Paul smiled in satisfaction. Though her words were few, her reddened cheeks and ears spoke elegantly of Zenith's feelings. Without letting go of her hand, Paul walked through the alley and entered the tavern with a sign that read, "The Snake Den's Inn."
Oh, here he comes. It's Paul, the leader of the Fangs of Black Wolf.
It's Paul. The moment they stepped in the room, he was greeted with loud cheers as he waded through the waves of people into the back room covering Zenith. The other members of the group had already arrived.
Damn, they're fast. I felt like Paul just went beeline to there. I guess he had to bring Zenith with him, so.
You're late. I took a detour through the back alleyways, but what the hell's going on here?
The owner advertised the place as the purveyor of the Fangs of Black Wolf. That's why all these people came here.
The owner gonna make some money off this whole thing.
What's with that? He's a soft-spoken old man.
He said he's going to be very generous with the money for the drinks. He said I could drink as much as I wanted.
Well, at least you get something out of it. So, you're drinking right now. Drinking with a keg in your arms? You're drinking as boldly as ever.
You should try it too, Zenith.
Don't you dare. Don't get involved with Zenith, you drunkard. Talhan was holding a keg and laughing hysterically with a red face. Apparently, the drinking party started before Paul and company arrived. Where's Elise?
She's sitting over there.
Geese pointed to a wall of men that had formed. From the center of it, a familiar voice could be heard.
Of course, I'm going to sleep with her.
I'm the one that called out first. You don't butt in from the side.
Shut up. Let's see who deserves a girl and who doesn't. It's a duel. Get your ass up front.
Duel? You don't have to do that. Let's have fun together, shall we?
I was about to say, she's going to go and take you all on.
Don't be shy. You can mess me up with everyone here, can't you?
The men shouted with delight. Paul narrowed his eyes as he watched the heat explode.
That one's just going to be gone for the rest of the night.
Dude, you just jealous. You're just jealous.
Hey, Paul. You're talking like it's someone else's problem.
Huh? Geese, who had been drinking, did not try to hide his smirk and stood shoulder to shoulder with Paul. Then he points to the corner of the bar with his thumb.
The ladies over there. They've been waiting a long time for you to come, you know?
Zenith perked up.
What's with that reaction? We have everything from pretty to cute, you know? And they're all dressed like they're about to open their legs.
Whatever.
Huh?
Whatever.
Everybody...
Paul, are you dying? Paul, hey, Paul, boss, everything's okay, right? You're all right, man, aren't you?
Geese and Zenith's face were strained with astonishment, and Talhand, who was also astonished, was spilling a mouthful of booze from his pop-open mouth.
What's the matter with you? You usually jump at the women and gobble them up without restraint.
Are you a phony, Paul? Keelane's like, you're sus.
Did you hit your head in the labyrinth? Zenith, cast healing fell now.
What?
You guys, everyone has the same look. I'm not a phony, and I didn't hit my head. Paul looked around at his companions with a twitch in his mouth. He was a womanizer, and he loved women. This perception was not wrong, but for Paul, it was his past self. I have Zenith now, Paul thought. I'm not going to go to another woman. How'd that work for Lilia, huh? How'd that work for Lilia, huh? Following his impulse, Paul grabbed Zenith's hand and got up from his seat.
Paul!
Anyways, not today. I'm in the mood for a quiet, leisurely drink.
Unusual thing to do. But then, why are you trying to drag Zenith along with you?
You guys are going to drink the night away, aren't you? I can't leave Zenith alone here in this bar, where I know there'll be more drunks.
Yeah, sure.
Perhaps because they were already drunk, the members of the Fang of the Black Wolf did not suspect anything and agreed to Paul's words. They're not even following the line of thought here. They're just going, why are you broken? What happened to Paul? Zenith, let's go.
Yeah.
Paul left the bar with Zenith, hearing Talhan's voice at the back as they began a drinking contest. To avoid people's prying eyes, Paul then entered an inn, which cost more money than usual, and took one of the rooms at the reception desk.
That room together?
If you mind it, Zenith, you can have another room. Paul told Zenith, who looked nervous in the softest voice possible. You know what direction is going to go if you choose to join him. What does it mean to stay in the same room? And what did he intend to do? Paul knew that Zenith would understand. I mustn't force you to stay with me, Paul thought. If she doesn't like it at all, then I'll wait until Zenith is ready. Okay, now I'm sus. Okay, I laughed along with everybody else, but I understood, but now I'm sus. Now I'm super sus of Paul. He's an imposter.
I don't mind.
Zenith assured him clearly, despite Paul's unease. Her face was still tense.
but she looked straight at Paul's eyes. One room will be fine. I see. He felt like jumping up and down with joy, but it would be too uncool to do so. With a soppy, restless feeling, Paul took Zenith with him to his room. Then the fangs of the Black Wolf was gone. He never felt calm, even when entering the room. On the contrary, he felt strangely thirsty, and his heart was beating faster and faster. Are you kidding me? I'm nervous, Paul thought. I know Zenith is nervous. It's probably the first time she's ever done anything like this. Why am I nervous too? I've done this more times than I can count. Because now there's meaning behind it. Because it's with Zenith, right? This is enough to keep him going. He wondered how special this Zenith woman was to him. Paul exhaled deeply to calm his mind. Then he stood in front of Zenith, who was staring at her feet and not moving, and placed his hand on her slender shoulder. Are you sure you want to do this? Now you can still, you can wait. Earlier, you made sure of that, didn't you? That it's all right with me. Or does Paul want me to run away? Paul's eyes widened as he was told something he was not expecting. How the hell could I? Just what? It was embarrassing to say it again, but Paul had a hunch that his current feelings were not to be mistaken. I want to do things right with you, Zenith. I don't want to let my desires get the better of me, or let the moment get the better of me, or whatever. I'm going to wait for you to really feel good about it. And that might not always be possible, but I'm going to wait as long as I can. I'm curious about what she said back there. You gave me a chance back there to basically say no, and I accepted it, and now we're here. Does Paul want me to run away? How the hell could I? Just what? It almost sounds like she's saying, okay, but back there you asked me, I said yes. We got in here, and now you're asking me again, are you wanting me to leave? Are you wanting me to say no? Are you wanting me to run away? There's almost a side of it that's almost like, yes, he's doing everything he can to make sure he doesn't screw this up and that he treats her properly. Big shocker, I know. Which I kind of figure there's a side of me that almost feels like it should have been better placed into there, how he comes to that conclusion. But again, he doesn't want to break this. He's realized finally this is the thing that I kind of want. Every other time has just been, you pick it up, you partake it, you munch, and then you put it back down and you move on. Don't even care about what happens to it after that. It's a one and done. There's no feelings involved. Both parties make the exchange, except for with Lilia. She didn't get the choice. He makes the exchange, transaction complete, you part your ways. With here, it's more. I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to do anything that could possibly make her upset. That does kind of imply the idea that with these other situations where it was a transaction, there was cases where he may have done something wrong, but he didn't care. Again, Lilia. The fact that she says, did you want me to run away? There's almost a side of that Zenith is thinking of his feelings too. That he seems uncomfortable. I came in here with him, but he doesn't seem to have the usual confidence. Maybe he wants me to run away. Maybe he's uncomfortable with being here. Maybe I'm not good enough. That kind of stuff. That's sort of what it makes me believe. Why would she say, does Paul want me to run away? The words and attitude were not like Paul's usual, but he meant everything he said and did not tell lies. He wanted to be serious. Paul's feelings were conveyed, and Zenith let out a small sigh of relief. I know what I'm doing here. I know it's a bit of an overstatement for me to say I'm ready, but I made my own decision, and I'm here with you. I decided that I want to move forward with Paul. Zenith, this is the last time I'm asking. Are you sure about this? Yes, of course, because I believe in you. I see. I believe in you, but just by throwing that one sentence, and warmth spread in his heart. I don't know all Paul's past relationship with women, but I can usually guess what they're like. But I'm surprised you believe me. He had no regrets about the past relationships with women, but there was no way he could talk about them openly in front of Zenith. Paul looked away awkwardly, but then he heard Zenith giggle and look back at her. I believe in Paul from now on. From now on, as long as you don't touch another woman, you can hold me. I was waiting for that to come up. It was a side of me that was almost thinking, well, okay, maybe they extrapolated it from the idea that she said, I believe in you. You know what my belief is. Paul, you know my beliefs. You know that I am a follower of Millis, that my true belief is that a man and a woman, one. That's it. No harems. None of that stuff. You know that's my belief. I trust you. I trust that back there you said, no, I don't care about them. I only have wives for one person. And here you're saying, let's do this. I trust you. But here she's finally say it. From now on, as long as you don't touch another woman, go ahead. Check yes or no. Oh, of course. Paul answered immediately with a smile and impulsively hugged Zenith. Wait a minute, Paul. He picked her up and spun her around, and they both fell into the bed together. Zenith, I promise you, I won't touch another woman but you.
It's so funny reading that now. It's so funny reading that now. I'll never touch another woman. No other woman. Just you and only you and Lilia. Yes, you do that. There was a pause in Zenith's reply. Perhaps because Paul had given an immediate answer without hesitation. Perhaps she still had something on her mind. If you knew about my past, Paul thought, wouldn't you be worried? So it's up to me from now on to erase that anxiety. Paul put his arms around Zenith. Zenith. Yes? Thanks for accepting me. Don't thank me. I'm the one who started this. They embraced each other as they were sharing each other's body heat and making it the same temperature. And then they both drowned in their love. Oh, beautiful, Paul thought. I think I like Zenith more than I can help myself. Zenith's eyes widened as she froze at the words that had unintentionally spilled out. What's the surprise? Do you think I'm joking? I'm serious. That's the first time. What? You tell me that you like me. Ugh. Oh yeah, I forgot about that part, right? It was Paul's turn to be surprised. Didn't I ever tell you? No, that was the first time. I know it sounds like an excuse, but I've been thinking about it in my heart for a long time. I like you. I care about you. I love you. From the first time I met you, I saw you differently in my eyes than I saw anyone else. I'm sure it's because I loved you. Paul's mouth repeatedly expressed his love for Zenith, so much so that it seemed like a lie that he'd never said it before. Each time, Zenith smiled happily and returned the same amount of love. There's no woman as gentle and warm-hearted as you. I'm sure that's because I love you too. It was the most intense, passionate, yet tender, happy time Paul had ever experienced. Damn. Yeah, I mean, putting aside again the lol joke and the idea that he doesn't keep to this, it's kind of interesting how important this is. It seems kind of dumb from my perspective as somebody who's always felt like this. I've always had a mindset, and my beliefs has always been one person. You only have one person in your life. That's why I said before, like personally, my own beliefs, it more tracks along with Millis and the idea of like, yes, when Rudius first got with Roxy after marrying Sylphie, I mean, personally, I'm like, yeah, it's just a story. It's a fictitious story. As long as everybody's happy in the end, whatever. But yeah, I would have rather him be faithful to Sylphie. Here, it's more like a very significant thing in the idea that for Paul's mentality, he doesn't really understand what the heck that he has. And then at some point, he came to a realization, oh, that's right. That's what that was when I first seen her way back there. It was love. And it's nothing I really experienced before. And it's a different feeling here with her. It's a completely different feeling here with her. And as funny as it is to even think about it, it is a big deal for him to say, I won't touch anybody else, only Zenith. That's a big deal. And it's even more interesting in the idea that, shoot, even when Paul was going to try to save his family, he still didn't touch anybody. Even when he was separated with Lilia and Zenith, he never touched anybody. Brutus had the assumption he did. Yeah, he did. He touches Lilia at some point. Of course he would touch somebody else. No. Even there, he was very faithful to Zenith. The only time he ever faltered was with Lilia. And I think there's an argument to be made that because he's already been with her is sort of a more acceptant aspect there. And yes, the fact that Lilia egged it on as well. But it's a big deal to him. Chapter 12. The next day, Paul and Zenith woke up when the sun was high in the sky, spent a lazy half day, and then went to the bar where the members were. You look amazing today. It's only the second day. I guess it's going to go on for a while longer. The party must have been going on in the bar for a long time. The wild revelry was still going on, but not a few of them were lying on the floor, perhaps drunk out of their minds. Among them was Talhand. He was sleeping on his back, snoring. Hey, Talhand, you'll get trampled if you sleep here. Oh, for crying out loud. Paul picked up Talhand and carried him to a space that was just barely less crowded. Zenith, wait a minute, please. I'm going to go talk to the owner. Yeah, all right. I'll take care of Talhand. Yeah, I'll be right back. Paul went to the proprietor and paid him more money than the Fangs of the Black Wolf had eaten and drank. The owner said, I can't accept this much, but Paul handed over a bag of money as if pushing it on him. He's feeling good. Just take it. You don't know who ate and drank how much anymore, do you? We like this bar. It would be a shame if it went bankrupt. Oh yeah, we'll have some light drinks and some snacks and bring some fruit or something in the back. That's an unusual order for Paul. Oh, Ghislaine, you weren't drunk out of your mind, were you? No, I just ate a bunch. She's like, I just ate stuff. Ghislaine was slightly red-faced, but apparently not wobbly. She seemed to be able to handle it if asked to fight right now. Were you drinking alone? Yeah.
But did anyone come up to you? At first, yes. After I silenced one of the guys who was insisting on talking to me, they just looked at me from a distance after that. I still feel bad that Ghislaine at the end never got anybody. Hopefully in one of the side stories, he could just about guess what kind of silencing she did. Paul chuckled and pointed to the corner of the store. Zenith's over there. And although he ain't awake, I've also collected and rolled Talhan. You've had enough to drink by yourself. Let's drink together from here on. Yeah, let's do that. When Paul returned with Ghislaine, he found not only Zenith and the others, but also Geese. What's this? You retrieved Ghislaine as well? Not only are you taking care of Talhan, but you've also taken care of Ghislaine? I saw you gave money to the owner of the store. So you must have really hit your head. You're obviously running low on gear, aren't you? Where did you drop it? That's... Geese was trying to be funny, stumbled over his words at Paul's point, and looked away in an understandable way. I wonder. He said he got ripped off at gambling tables. Is that so? I got into it with a guy that I was drinking with yesterday, and he said he'd introduce me to a good betting house. So I went along. I did that, and he got me cleaned out and took some of my equipment. Damn, I could have won if I just stuck around a little bit longer. That's what most losers say. That's what always Geese says. Paul said disgustingly, and rubbed shoulders with Geese. Paul? I can't help it. I'll go get back what's taken from you. Why? Why? Of course, it's because I'd be off if word got around that the Fangs of Black Wolf are suckers. Well, that's true, but... Geese was blindly surprised. I mean, there's a side of me that feels like Geese is surprised here because why is Paul going out of his way of helping everybody? He's paid the guy. Why would you pay him extra? Why are you paying him so much? Why are you helping out Talhan? Oh, he went and got Ghislaine. Why are you fighting for my gear? Because he's a husband now. He just got engaged, basically. He's feeling good. But I don't see why it's a surprise because back there when Geese got messed up, I guess technically back there with the whole situation with him going in debt is because it was their party that was in debt. It wasn't just Geese. He put them entirely in debt. So they had to kind of take action there. Well, that's true, but... Geese was blindly surprised. The reason was that he didn't expect Paul to suggest that he'd go and get back before he asked for it. I'm going to go. Ghislaine, ask you to take care of Zenith and Talhan. If any strange people approach, send them away. Got it. But, Geese, from now on, keep your betting in moderation. Oh, right? I mean, don't you look different? Huh? I'm the same. Don't go spouting nonsense. Paul brushed aside the slight doubt Geese had. However, Geese realized that his doubts were not just his imagination. No, the members of the Fangs of the Black Wolf were soon confronted by the fact that they were not. Chapter 13. What's with the attitude of those nobles? They are playing the adventurers for suckers. One day, the Fangs of the Black Wolf, who'd been asked to provide an escort for an expected battle with monsters, were being pushed around by the aristocratic family they were escorting. Wait a minute. The carriage is shaking too much. Stop it quickly. We're going to take a break. One of the monsters coming out. You don't need adventurers. I'll take care of it. My tutor even admits I'm good at it. Hey, I'm bored. You, woman, come and pour a drink with me. Since setting out, the journey had been a mess, with unlimited selfishness, constant bragging, and almost being groped by a womanizer. The carriage stopped for a break, and the members of the Fangs of the Black Wolf met face to face. Elnace was the first to voice her dissatisfaction. That boy was bragging that he could become an S-class adventurer in no time. If we could become such things. If he's so confident with his skills, shall I leave him around here? Damn, girl. He's trying to touch me. Must be a gray rat. It's not fun they say whatever they want, just because they're paying for the job. If he touches me anymore, can I cut it off? I'm not going to ask what you're going to cut off. Zenith must have it rough with that little girl. Yes, but I'm fine. I'm used to dealing with numble girls. Zenith said that with a wry smile, as the air was filled with a swoon. The members frowned at her, clearly not okay with the situation. At this look from her friends, Zenith huffed and tried to change the subject. More importantly, I have a favor to ask Geese. What is it? There it is. I forgot about that. I was beginning to forget about that. Can you teach me how to cook? Huh? What's going on all of a sudden? Zenith herself was inwardly flustered, wondering why she had said at this point in time. Even that selfish aristocrat eats meals Geese serves without complaining, doesn't she? I want to be able to make that kind of food. Well, I guess it's fine. I mean, I guess that's a good point. If you've been a picky eater like that accepts it, man, that's some good family food right there. I guess the implication here is that Zenith already kind of can tell that she's pregnant. I mean, that's technically what they were talking about with Rudius, and the idea that it was very hard to have another child, and here it was like one and done. So she should already be pregnant, and she's probably starting to feel it. I don't think that they haven't implied yet that she's, feeling sick or anything. Well, I guess it's fine. An indescribable air was created between Zenith, who asked in bewilderment, and Geese, who nodded in bewilderment. What are you two talking about? Now is not the time to be talking about such things. Annalise was the one who made the air fizzle out. People like to get carried away if they play down to them. We must not let them take advantage of us.
Why don't you just go ahead and squeeze them in the carriage, so there'll be no boring conversation.
Oh dear. You make good suggestions for every once in a while. Just shove him in there. Shut him up. Perhaps irritated by the aristocrat, Annalise didn't pick a fight with Talhan, but was willing to take him up on a suggestion for once they worked together. I see your point. While the members were complaining, Paul quietly interrupted with a serious face. But now we've accepted the job. We can't just throw it away halfway through, can we? Let's finish the job. As an adventurer and a party leader, that was a fair statement. However, the members were astonished to hear Paul's honest opinion. What's the matter, Paul? You said it's a proper thing.
He did, didn't he? You must be pissed off too, after being told off, right?
I'm not going to throw them away just because I'm... You won't even hit him? You won't... Ghislaine, please hit him so I can hit him too? What are you going to do if you hurt the guy you're protecting?
That's a good argument. You're making a good argument.
The members of the Fang of Black Wolf looked at each other. All of them were in agreement. I guess they're going to finally get rid of their infamy because Paul is settling down for once. He's becoming a husband. Somehow, Paul looks creepy right now.
Well, but this ain't going to last long.
Yes, I know. He's that Paul after all. Annalise and the others laughed at Paul's fickleness. However, it didn't end that day. Geese, I'm not saying stay out of the betting hall, but don't bet until you're stripped naked.
Oh?
Sometimes it was Geese. Sometimes it was Annalise. As far as the curse is concerned, you can't help that you keep devouring men, but you gotta change your ways. I heard that some gangsters got into an altercation because of you, Annalise. I beg your pardon? Paul's behavior and statements, in accordance with common sense and ethics of the world, are still going on more than 2 months later, contrary to expectations of the members. I mean, I wonder if it's part of it is the fact that, yes, he's settling down, he's chilling out, like he has a purpose now. He has somebody that he cares for. He's become a family at this point. But there's also a side of it that makes me wonder if she's starting to teach him things at the Mills Church, or at least the idea of being around somebody who is grounded in some sort of belief system is causing him to sort of kind of chill out a little bit. He's learning from her actions. Because she follows those rules, because she acts this certain way because of her beliefs, it's rubbing off on him. Moreover, he was not only keeping straight himself, but he was even demanding it from the others. You're telling me to study up? It's necessary. Finally, on that day, he even telling Ghislaine to start learning. If he's telling Ghislaine to start learning, start studying up, he's already planning on disbanding. He knows that he's going to have to leave her be. Finally, on that day, while in the camp on the way home from the commission, an emergency meeting of the Fangs of the Black Wolf was held, initiated by the members who had become frustrated with Paul's transformation. This is getting on my nerves. You tell me to learn how to count money and do calculations and to research the area. There's no way I'll understand, even if you tell me so much. Talhan, as I recall, you were also meddling in various ways, weren't you?
I was told to think about how much I drink and to stop making a fool of myself in the bar.
Hey, Paul, dear, what's going on with you? Paul did not answer Annalise's question and fell silent. The irritation of his friends was amplified even more by their leader, who was saying nothing.
We've been free to do what we want, haven't we? No matter how much the powers that be, or the higher ranks say to us. If we don't like it, we'll blow them off. We'll stick our necks out and do whatever we want. And the Fangs of the Black Wolf are a party that has that much strength, aren't we?
You've certainly changed. Or maybe you're trying to change now. You take every job request seriously, and don't throw away any of them in the middle of the job. You don't ignore your clients, and your attitude has improved.
Straightforwardness, for example, doesn't suit you. To be honest, Paul, you're getting kind of creepy these days.
I agree. Paul stood up, arms crossed, and looked across to his companions, who made no attempt to hide their frustration. I understand where you guys are coming from, but you know what? I've decided to change. Change? I've stopped being a brat. Paul said that with authority. He had found a woman he loved with all of his heart and decided to become a proper man. Everything he was doing now was for that purpose. But there was no way the members of the Fangs of the Black Wolf could have known about such a decision.
What the hell's up with that? I don't get it.
Don't you dare be whimsical with your ideas. Huh? It's neither a whim nor a random thought. I did this after thinking it through. The quarrel between the members of the Fangs of the Black Wolf would never end with just an argument. Paul, who was making an earnest effort to change, reflexively raised his voice and was about to get physical with the others. Oh, Zenith's body, having not uttered a single word until then, fell to the side. Ghislaine, who was staying next to her, supported her quickly as she could. Zenith? What's wrong? Blowing away the fact that they were about to fight any moment, Paul rushed to Zenith. The other members hurriedly gathered around her. Zenith's face turned pale from blood that drained from her face, and her consciousness seemed to be clouded. Zenith, Zenith, Paul, calm down. Don't shake her so much when you don't know what the cause is.
I remember there's a small town up ahead. If we hurry now, we'll be there before dawn.
Geese, lead the way.
Roger that. My feet can't keep up. I'll fall behind you.
Ghislaine, you stay with Dalhan, and Elise will go with us. He didn't know why Zenith fell. With his mind filled with confusion and frustration, Paul fired off instructions to the members. Paul put Zenith on his back and left the encampment, with Geese leading the way. I want to call it quits, but I know where it's gonna get to. Let's get to the punchline first. Chapter 14. When the sun began to appear, they arrived at a small town and rushed straight to the doctor's house. Why is this happening? Paul thought. If anything happens to Zenith, Paul punched the wall out of frustration and anxiety. Geese and Elise, who came with him, also had a grim expression on their face. How much time had passed when the sun rose high in the sky and Talhan and company, following behind them, had joined the group? She's waking up. Where's Zenith? Is she all right? Ask her directly for more information. Please, go to the back room. Paul rushed into the hospital room. Inside, Zenith was lying on her bed, looking out the window with a quiet face. Zenith, Paul, everyone. Your color's still not good, dear, but you seem to be conscious. Yes, I feel much better. I'm sorry to worry you all. Don't apologize. Just tell us, please. What did the doctor tell you? That's... Paul asked seriously as he approached the bed. Then Zenith looked away, as if she was reluctant to say. Whether from Zenith's mood or from the intuition of an experienced person, it was Elise who first thought of this. Zenith, you don't mean... Yes, I was surprised, too, when I heard about it just now. I'm pregnant. There it is! There it is! Silence fell in the hospital room. The next moment, Paul was hugging Zenith, whose expression was still hard, as if she still hadn't come to terms with it. Pregnant. My child, Paul thought. Rudius Greyrato has been conceived, or at least the one that was supposed to be, because at this point, he's not quite there yet. The Rudius we know is not quite there. The OG Rudius. The OG Rudius has been conceived. It is true, when Zenith accepted him, and when he had heard the news of his father's death, the idea of a child came to mind. But he did not expect to have a child after only one time. His heart was buzzing, half with joy and half with anxiety. Seeing Paul hugging Zenith tightly without saying a word, the members of the Fanged Black Wolf exchanged glances. Then, out of everyone's mouth, a sigh escaped.
I knew you had your hands in things after all.
So, you knew after all? Yes, of course. Paul and Zenith are easy to read and understand. We were all aware of it for some time now. Paul always had a special look in his eyes when he looked at you. It was like that from the beginning, when I think about it. I remember the look on his face when he met you, Zenith.
Zenith, too, suddenly asked me to teach you how to cook, and it hit me. You said you were trying to learn to cook for someone else. Paul's the only one from the Fangs of the Black Wolf who'd fit that bill, right? Well, I didn't think you were pregnant.
So you already knew about it. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about me and Paul. No need to apologize. Ghislaine's like, thank you because he stopped touching me. Ghislaine's like, thank you because he stopped touching me. Elise is like, yeah, great. I don't have to bother with him no more. Shaking her head in apology, Ghislaine approached Zenith. Then looking down at her still unchanged belly, she asked the question, when are you going to give birth? They told me I'm about 2.5 months now. So a little under 7 months to go, I guess. If you're saying this the day I decided to get serious with Zenith, Paul thought, I had a baby in her belly. Maybe this guy is a symbol of family. Aww, because they were fighting so much, they both wanted family. They came together, and bam, it just happened. The symbol of family. The anxiety that was born in his heart disappeared. A fork in Paul's road appeared, forcing him to make a decision. He was determined and did not hesitate for a moment. But what are you going to do now? As long as she's pregnant, we can't work in the same ways we did before, can we?
That's right. Her belly will be coming out from now on, and I know it'll be difficult to fight and move around. I think it'd be safer for her to leave the party for now, and then we can think about what to do when the baby's born.
I see. The members talked seriously. It was not unusual for adventurers to become pregnant and retire. Zenith was waiting for her friend's decision with a serious face, as if she was also prepared for it. But the results were already in. In Paul's mind, it was long overdue. Listen up, guys. The Fangs of the Black Wolf is disbanded. Everyone, including Zenith, was speechless at the decision that the dignified Paul had just made. Zenith is out. I'm out too. So, we disband. But if you guys want to keep the same name, the Fangs of the Black Wolf, and continue as adventures, then go on ahead. I have no intention of stopping you.
Eh? What are you talking about? Disbanded? Don't be ridiculous.
I'm not convinced. There must be another way. What are you going to do now that the party is disbanded, aside from Zenith? Are you saying that even you are quitting the adventuring party, Paul? Yes. I'm going to marry Zenith and settle down to work. What? Marriage? The words that came out of Paul's mouth were unbelievable, even to Zenith. Paul looked at Zenith in his arms. He could see it in her face. She was much, much more anxious than he was. Yeah, let's get married. Quitting being an adventurer? Zenith and my baby are my family, so I will protect them. Let's get married and live together. It was nerve-wracking to spin sincere words with real feelings, but he was even more nervous waiting for her reply to his proposal. Eventually she, "Yes." Zenith nodded, shortly, quietly, but firmly. Paul's spine shivered with delight. In his eyes, he saw only Zenith. "You too." The world of just the two of them was shattered by the angry gazes and voices of their friends. "I have no taste for yelling in front of pregnant women. Paul, come outside." Yeah, it was probably because they were women, and she was just their cute little sister. Annalise did not want to fight in front of Zenith, despite the indignation on her voice. I probably should have gone this far into the chapter. Things start hitting the fan out of nowhere. The members, except for Zenith, left the hospital room. Perhaps as a reaction to this anger she had been forcibly suppressing, it was Annalise who started the conversation. "Do you think we'd be saying congratulations on your engagement?"
Yeah, that's right. You're ignoring what we have to say. Can't you at least listen to us? We would never have agreed to this.
The stares and hostility flew. Paul faced his companions. "Zenith and I are out. Nothing you guys say will change that. You're the one who brought us into this, remember? Besides, we cherish our friends more than anything else."
We've liked your spirit to fight the higher ranked parties and say no to the ones we didn't like. To be decent, to be a respectable person, you've lost your nerve, Paul.
Do I look like a coward? Paul clenched his fists and glared towards his tormentors. Paul was not mature enough to suppress his anger at the total denial of his attempts to change. So he said it. "Don't just say whatever you want. What do you know about me? I've decided to retire. Don't start about what other people decide. Being an adventurer is something I can't quit easily. So I can leave you guys too. We just hung out because we seemed to get along and call each other friends because we didn't know what else to call each other. You guys don't weigh that much in my mind. Don't you guys get in the way." These words were too harsh to be merely fighting words, but rather, they were tantamount to betrayal. Yeah, this is getting messed up. Paul's word sunk deep into the fangs of the Black Wolf and inflicted a wound beyond repair. I really need to stop because it's gone on too long, and I know I have way too much left to get through. I need to find a stopping point, but damn, Andrew, we're going to stop right there. I mean, it's a good cliffhanger. It's a good cliffhanger. This makes much more sense as to this whole breakup. And this is frustrating because on one end, it's Paul. He's decided, okay, this is what I want. He found somebody that understood him. He found Zenith. The Doki Dokis happened. What is this feeling? It's love. And eventually he discovers the fact that is love. I've never felt this way before. Every other girl, it's like pick up, do deed, dumped. Go on to the next one. Pick up, do deed. Again, transactions. They're just transactions. They're not love. They're not establishing something. Here it's different. And a lot of it has to really do with the fact that they both connected through their mutual understanding of what they've been through in their lives. The nobility, what it's done to them. My mother, my father. Nobility, what is expected of me. What is expected of me? We have the same thing. We both have similar wounds. We know how they feel. And this love happens between the two of them. And at some point, Paul decides, I know what's expected of me in order for me to make this happen. I see what should be a real relationship. And Zenith expects this of me. Do not touch another woman. So I won't. He's changing. And again, I think there is an element that because he's at Zenith's side and because she has this foundation for what is expected of a person, social norms that she expects of him, that he sees those social norms that she has established in her life, and it's rubbing off on him. He wants to be a better person. He wants to be a better man. And so that's affecting the party over time. But they kind of accepted it. And yes, it seems like they were clued in. Yeah, we know what changed too. We didn't want to kind of say it, but they all knew what changed in Paul. Paul was changing because of Zenith. Here's the heartbreak, and this shows what broke everything up. He's decided already a long time ago, eventually I'm gonna make a family with her. We're gonna be together forever. He was already decided a long time ago, I'm gonna eventually break up this party. Eventually. I was changing to be the better man for her, but he knew eventually he was going to break off. He knew that he wanted to have a family. Ever since way back here, he decided at some point he wanted a family. It's odd that he's pointing out that it was partly to do with the news of his father's death. It made him want to have a family. I think that's really just him reminding himself of family. And it may have been Amarant's words. Amarant's words towards a son. It triggered something in him of the idea of wanting a son. But here, right here, with this decision, he just blurts it out. And it's crazy, the response. It sucks because this should be a point of happiness. But Paul has, in the midst of everybody kind of figuring out what they're going to do, okay, we got to find a place for her to stay for a while she has the kid. We can keep doing what we're doing. And then once she has the kid, we'll decide from there what we're going to do. They're already deciding how to work around this because they're assuming we're going to stay together. Paul loves this. This is his place, his joy. And he said that before. Paul has inwardly and outwardly expressed several times that being an adventurer was freedom. I love this freedom. I love it. 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 They all know he loves his party. They all had so much fun. They watched each other's backs. They were this connection, this perfect party of fighters, able to take on the most powerful challenges in front of them, labyrinths and whatnot. And now he's saying, it's done. It's done. Y'all do whatever you want to do. It's done. And that frustrates them. It frustrates them. He's discarding it so freaking easily. Why? You said you already decided it? It's frustrating to them. That's them off. It makes sense why they're so mad. We're all friends. We're all companions. And you're just acting like you're just like, whatever, clocking out. Peace out, guys. What about us? What about everything that we built together? You're just going to ditch out on it? What the hell is wrong with you? What about our party? What everything we're doing? What you sold us on? We followed you because you sold us on these ideals. You sold us on this concept of always doing whatever we want to do and taking all this stuff. Talhan's words, I think, are the most surprising, Talhan's words are the most surprising. Elise is talking about friendship. Geese is talking about, wait, you weren't going to talk to us first? Geese feels betrayed because he didn't talk to him. We're supposed to talk this out. Elise feels like we're supposed to be friends. We're companions. What happened? Talhan says, what the hell is with your change in attitude? You sold us on these ideals. You've lost your nerves. Be a respectable person. What the hell? And the more interesting thing about this is the shift in Paul's nature. He's been trying to be a respectable person for Zenith. And now he has this new purpose to be a father, which is interesting because, again, adventuring is all about freedom. And he's actively pursuing to lock him down to a family life that many would claim is not freedom. It's responsibility. It's purpose. He wants that purpose. It's going from freedom, true freedom of not having any sort of goals or expectations upon you, to now have all these responsibilities and expectations suddenly placed upon you that you cannot walk away from, otherwise you destroy at least one life. But now that they're criticizing him, he snaps back into old Paul. He snaps back into angry Paul. What do you know about me? Zenith, who I chose, understands me. You guys don't. It's a quick shift into, we used to be companions. Like Elise is saying there, we're companions, we're friends. No, we're never friends. What are you talking about? You don't know me. Zenith knows me. I've decided to retire. Don't start about what I decided to do, about my life. Yes, it was a hard decision. He's saying it was a hard decision to give this up. But you guys, we just hung out together. We called each other friends because we didn't know what to call each other. You guys don't weigh that much on my mind. Don't get in my way. It's so surprising going from I'm becoming a respectable person to literally spitting in their faces. No doubt in my mind, if this is how it unfolded with the breakup, again, if this writer had some guidance here, I don't blame Elise. I'm kind of shocked that other people weren't as pissed off. Geese, I see more so being more accepting because he's just so... Yes, it affected him because he lost that security of having a party. But Talhand, him brushing that off that easily? Surprising. Ghislaine probably, unfortunately, doesn't understand it as well. But Elise? Yeah. I see why she was so pissed. I see exactly why she was so pissed. This could have been handled so much better. I'm sorry, guys. I truly care about you. But this is what I want. No, he quickly went to partly their fault because they were so aggro when they left that room. But damn, Paul basically laying out, I never cared about you guys. I don't think he's smart enough to be doing this to push them away. I think he's literally doing this because he never really cared about anybody. He only cared about Zenith. Again, it's similar to the whole situation with the street rats. All those kids that he was hanging out with. Marianne didn't care about any of them. He truly never really did care about anybody. Zenith is the first person that he loved, liked, loved, anything. And that's sad. because the expectation for the people that he'd been hanging out, my expectation after reading all this is that he cares for them, which does technically put a lot more weight into how much they sacrifice to help Paul and Zenith. And yes, there was a part of that where I think that at some point they sort of jokingly stated that they were doing it for Zenith. They loved Zenith more than really anybody else. And I can see this being this breakup right here where they suddenly really hate Paul, but they still love Zenith. And so it makes sense that, yes, when the whole displacement incident happened, they came there probably for Zenith. Not really Paul. They liked Paul. But yeah, this is a nasty, nasty little end to their party. Because I think when it goes to the next part, he's gonna go back to Zenith. I'd be curious if he actually talks with them again after this. Screw it, we're finishing it. We're so close. Episode 4, Life in Buena Village. Chapter 15. The argument of the Fang's Black Wolf over the dissolution of the party became heated, and the conversation was interrupted that day when they were removed from the hospital. Zenith was safely released from the hospital a few days later and moved herself to an inn in the town where the hospital was located. Have you talked to the others since then? I haven't seen them. Oh, I understand. The town was so small that there was only one inn. Therefore, the Fangs of the Black Wolf had no choice but to stay at the same inn. But apparently, they were not involved in any way. Are you not going to talk to the others anymore? Yeah, I'm not going to change my mind. It's the same with them. Paul looked at Zenith and relaxed his expression. Well, whatever it is. Don't worry, Zenith. Make sure you're in top shape, because we're going to travel a long distance, even if it's right after this. Huh? I can't stay with them. I'm going to leave them. Have you decided where we're going yet? Paul, I don't think we can keep traveling long distances. If we're going to have this baby, we need to be somewhere where I'm able to relax. A place to relax, huh? Somewhere where you can settle down? Paul had a difficult expression on his face, but then his expression suddenly changed when he noticed Zenith staring at him with a serious look on her face. Okay, I'll think about it. Well, it's not like I don't have an idea of what I'm doing. Don't worry. You must be tired after getting out of the hospital. Get some rest. I'm going to go out for a bit. Paul left the room with a smile on his face to reassure Zenith. Zenith lied down on the bed and let out a deep sigh. She closed her eyes for a while, but it was a blur, and she couldn't seem to go back to sleep. Zenith bit her lip as she stroked her belly, which hadn't swelled up, because she knew what Paul was thinking. Can't go on like this. She was in good shape, thanks to the doctor's generous treatment and the nursing. Zenith got up and left the room, and went to her friends, who were supposed to be in the same inn. The members of the group had taken different rooms, but they were all in the same place. Zenith, are you feeling better already? Yes, I'm fine. More importantly, Paul's about us.
Zenith, do not be mistaken. It is with Paul that we are angry. We have nothing against you, and we are not against your pregnancy or your marriage. Am I right?
Again, they all care about her, not Paul.
Yes, we all talked about it.
But it's not Paul's fault alone. You can't get pregnant or marry alone. Zenith clenched her fist. The most important thing to remember now was that you can't blame anyone else for your problems. But her friends didn't blame her. Paul didn't mean what he said in the hospital room. She had been thinking about it ever since she was in hospital. She had wondered how Paul could have been so angry with his friends, even if he admitted it as provocation. He's trying to make himself look bad. He's trying to take the blame and trying to protect me. So please don't blame Paul alone. Yeah, see, she's thinking the same thing I'm thinking. The idea of him trying to push them away, trying to shield her. Rather than it be... The way that I'm thinking of it is like, rather than them think that because Zenith came in the picture and got pregnant, it's her fault that the party's going to fall apart. No, he's going to end the party by making everybody hate him, and they'll forget that Zenith got pregnant. Zenith raised her voice to defend Paul. The members of the Fang of Black Wolf heard her words and exhaled quietly. There was no surprise on anyone's face.
I know. We know that.
Whatever that moment was, I don't believe now that was Paul's true intention.
Yeah, even I can see that.
Again, they've been with each other for a long time. So yeah, the way that conversation ended that last chapter, it makes sense that these people aren't going to believe this. It's a quick spout, but it's one of those situations where, like, if you have an argument with somebody that you've known for, like, 20 years. Let's say 10 years, even 10 years. If you're close to somebody for at least 10 years and you get in a little spat, in a lot of cases, no matter how severe the words are, you know what they're really thinking. In some cases, you just know exactly what they're thinking. Yeah, this is some crazy stuff right there. He claimed that they were never friends. It's a lie. And that's what makes me so angry. What do you mean? Paul is a free and uninhibited man who goes where he pleases. He is the kind of man who alone is responsible for the dissolution of the Fangs of the Black Wolf. I still can't believe that he'd make such a self-sacrifice. So that's what angers her. That's what angers her. Interesting. Again, I'm so stuck on what Ellen Lace comes to decision on, because that's really the bigger part of the whole spout.
So you mean he wanted to span the party, right? That's why this is unforgivable. This is our...
What are you guys doing? A voice interrupted Talhan's words. Zenith and the other turned to meet the grim-faced Paul standing at the door. Don't tell me you've got Zenith surrounded and are complaining to her. What are you talking about? Do you think we're accusing her of something to harm her? Zenith, come here. Paul, don't get me wrong. I came here of my own volition, and I'm not being accused. Fine, come here. Yeah. Paul kept a serious expression on his face, even after hearing Zenith's words. Bewildered, she moved close to Paul, who stepped forward to hide Zenith behind his back.
Are you serious? Are you really trying to protect Zen from us?
You guys end up getting heated. Paul snickered as he provoked his companions. When we're leaving this town, I'm going to the guild. To pick up your reward? That's one thing, but I'm going to go through the formalities of disbanding the party. I am the leader of the Fang's Black Wolf. I'll do as I please, no matter what you say. Paul, knock it off, dude. It's so frustrating. Knock it off, dude. Chill out. The members were absolutely shocked by his arrogance and brazenness, and in the next moment, their anger exploded.
Oh!
You! How dare you say such a thing? Talon and Elise stood up with bright red faces. Geese and Ghislaine stopped them as they tried to jump him, pinned them down in a cross-legged chokehold. Oh, good. Keep up the good work and stop them.
You're the reason we're in this mess. This is no time to f around.
I'm not kidding. I've always been serious. I'm done with you guys. I don't think we'll see each other again. Oh. Paul turned his back on his former members and left the room, taking Zenith by the hand.
Hold on, Paul. Paul!
Against a backdrop of angry voices calling him his name, Paul returned to the room with Zenith in tow. He continued to quickly pack up his belongings and left the inn. Paul, are you trying to go out like this? You should talk to everyone more properly. That's fine. It's better that we didn't get into a fistfight. I'm sorry we had to leave so abruptly. We're actually going to leave tomorrow, but this is what happened. But if we leave now, we should be in a town where we can stay before the sun goes down. Don't worry, we won't be staying in the field. Oh, right. Just punch and run, dude. Just punch and run. This is aggravating. Paul's eyes were kind as he looked at Zenith. Still, she felt like she saw sadness in those eyes. And Zenith couldn't say, let's go back, or let's talk. She took Paul away from everyone in the Fangs of Black Wolf. She had robbed the Fangs of the Black Wolf from Paul. That sucks, dude. That sucks. Again, another situation where I never thought of Zenith's perspective in this whole situation. That she could technically have that guilt there. That she could feel that way. Yeah, I feel safe with Paul. Zenith didn't say a word of apology. She knew that an apology wouldn't bring back the Fangs of the Black Wolf, and that apology would only make herself feel better, but it would not save Paul. Ugh, jeez, dude. Chapter 16. The two of them continued their safe passage to the town. Their arrival was a little later than planned, at night, to find accommodations for the pregnant Zenith. Thank goodness we found a room to stay in. Normally, they would not have been in time to rent a room at the inn, but ironically, thanks to the name of the Fangs of the Black Wolf, they were able to get a room open. I'll be out for a bit tomorrow morning. We'll set out when I get back. Where are you going? I'm going to the guild. I've got some formalities to take care of. Procedures for disbanding the party? Yeah, Zenith asked the obvious, but Paul nodded his head without a trace of disgust. Coming with you. You don't have to do that, okay? Isn't it Paul who's taking it lightly? Me? You didn't really want to do this, did you? The Fangs of the Black Wolf wasn't just a party. It was an important place for you. You can still make time to apologize to those guys and continue being an adventurer? As if he had read what Zenith wanted to say, Paul continued to speak. Zenith, you're mistaken. Mistaken? Let's sit down and talk. Paul offered Zenith a chair and put a blanket from the bed on her lap. It does seem like he's lying to himself, but I think there's a side of this where he's trying to prove it to Zenith. I almost feel like he's trying to prove to Zenith that she doesn't have to be anxious. That he's trying to prove to her that I am dropping everything for you. I'm going to drop everything for you. I want you to understand. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I'm leaving everything. Don't worry, Zenith. I'm going to leave everything. Don't worry. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to destroy everything to prove to you that you are my everything now. Feels like that. Fangs of the Black Wolf was doing well. The best party I've ever been involved in. I think, even now, that it has turned out like this. We had a lot of different personalities, but strangely enough, we all worked together. Yes, it was. That's why I felt so comfortable with the Fangs of the Black Wolf. I'm not exaggerating. If we had kept going like that, we've been at the top of the heap as the strongest adventuring party to conquer the world. And above all, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing stupid things with the guys and running amok with them. Whether it was beating up people they didn't like, having a good time in taverns, or risking their lives conquering labyrinths, it was fun. He could remember everything without closing his eyes. He would surely not forget it for decades to come. If I had never met you, Zenith, I would still be the leader of the Fangs of the Black Wolf, and I would still be doing whatever I wanted to do as an adventurer. But when I met you, I realized what I really wanted. I know how you feel, Zenith. I know I'm making you suffer. It's pathetic. I'm sorry for making you feel responsible when you just found out you're pregnant and you're anxious. Again, I think he's destroying it all for her. He's trying to prove to her, don't worry. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you. Paul knelt down beside Zenith and took her gentle hand and squeezed it. It was the hand he swore he would never let go. But still, with all that, Zenith, I want to live with you and the child in your belly for the rest of my life. Paul said it with all of his heart and without any hesitation, so that all of his heart would be conveyed to her. Zenith heard Paul's words and realized how determined he was. Paul, you're so determined to move forward. Yeah, you can't just keep beating yourself up. To not always regret the past. I also must look towards the future, because I'm going to be your wife and the mother of this baby. He couldn't let go of his guilt for the members of the Fang's Black Wolf, or his sense of responsibility for what happened. Zenith firmly decided that she would still look forward, that she had to be strong. Paul, if you haven't decided where you're going to settle down, then we can go back to my country. There's no need for that. Deciding to look forward, Zenith was about to propose a homecoming when Paul interrupted and stopped her. Interesting. I don't think they ever implied that she would have welcomed him back to Millis. And for him, that's a no-go. Like, no, I know based on our conversation, you were hurt by them too. Can't go back there. Paul's taking this bullet too. No, we'll go back to a place that hurts me. Yes, he sort of sidesteps it a little bit, but he's going back to a place that hurt him so that she doesn't have to hurt herself. You can't just go back to a place where you have bad memories and calmly give birth there. Then, where are we going? The kingdom of Asura. Paul was the same as Zenith in that he had abandoned his country. He was returning to the country he was supposed to have abandoned for Zenith and was telling her they were going to go settle down there. She was painfully aware of his reluctance to visiting the place he had abandoned. That was why she was so moved by Paul's devotion and her feelings were hardened. Paul, I will support you from now on, even more than everyone who's supported you up until now. By your side, always. Zenith, you are beside me. I feel reassured. We can do anything now. That night, they slept in the same bed, holding each other tightly, and they would never be separated. Damn it, I hate reading words like that in this. They'll never be separated. Nothing will ever come between them. Chapter 17. The next day, Paul went to the guild with Zenith. He presented his adventure card to the woman at the reception desk. I need you to complete the request and disband the party. Paul's voice was neither loud nor quiet. Paul's face was widely known amongst the adventurer. Those who had been watching from afar in the guild were rustling. Huh? Disbanding? The Fang's Black Wolf? I've just heard something outrageous. Let's tell everyone. Yes, thank you for your time. As expected, the woman at the reception desk just looked at him for a moment, her eyes going wide, and went through the procedure without saying anything else. Please renew my card, Zenith asked. Yes. When Paul and Zenith returned, the words Fang's Black Wolf were missing from the adventure cards. They looked at them once and put them away without saying a word. What just happened to the others? Don't tell me they're all dead. They're not the kind of guys who go down easy, are they? I've seen them once. They're monsters. The murmurs in the guild would not cease. Paul frowned from the discomfort of their curious stares. Shut up. Paul's eyes sharpened as he looked around the guild, and the buzzing stopped. Everyone instantly stopped talking. In the midst of all this, the two of them left the guild. As they made their way towards the entrance of the town, Zenith tugged at the hem of his coat. That's the frustrating part, is that he's disbanding it. Like, let it be. Just leave. Like, you can't just leave. Again, I think it's just this stupid symbolism that he's, like, trying to prove to her that I'm not leaving you. I will never go back there. Like, he has to disband it so that it's never, like, a doubt that he can go back to it. Which doesn't make any sense because he can still go back to it. He can still make it again. It's annoying. Hey, Paul, I wonder what they'll think when they renew their cards. Well, they're definitely going to be mad, aren't they? I know, all right. Zenith's eyes went down and she let out a sigh. I knew I should have left it back there. Let's go back to the guild now, shall we? There's a hell of a racket going there right now. I'm sure the people are gathering there. Do you really want to go back to that place? Well, I don't really want to go back, but it's not like they were the only ones getting rewards. The reward for their last commission was now in Paul's hands in full. In short, he was taking it with him and running away. Oh my gosh, can we stop? Can we stop? Can we stop having Paul be dirtbaggery to them? It's like it keeps doing the next one. Not only is he like spitting the most nastiest crap at them, then he's like, I'm going to disband the guild. He ditches them. He literally disbands the guild. And then he takes all the last money. Paul, stop being an asshole about this. Please. I have a fear this entire Paul Gaiden is going to end with me hating him more again. We're going to have to pay for things. Let's just call it a wedding gift and a baby shower, okay? I mean, in the end, as long as they know that it's for Zenith, they're probably fine with this, but it's still bad. It's not okay, although there's nothing I can do about it now. But Paul, you've been trying to straighten up these past few months, haven't you? Yeah, this is the last time I'm going to play dumb. They would be angry and resent Paul when they renew their adventure cards and found out that he had abandoned them with their rewards. Perhaps they may have thought he's a lousy son of a a free spirit who does whatever he wants, and he hasn't changed at all, or something like that. It was a refreshing feeling. Paul smiled and narrowed his eyes. Geese Ducatia, Talhand of the harsh Great Peaks, Elalis Dragon Road, Ghislaine the Dolia. Although he had destroyed these bonds himself, they were undoubtedly important to Paul. Apparently not important enough. Bag. Piece of bag. Chapter 18. The destination of the Kingdom of Asura. Paul was concerned about Zenith's condition, but the highway was wide and safe. Because he had some money, Paul bought a wagon, but their progress was slow due to her being pregnant. His expression gradually hardened as he entered the Kingdom of Asura. This is why Zenith was unable to ask him about the details of the destination for so long. Phew. Are you okay? Zenith exhaled as she patted her belly, who was pulling the reins, stopped the carriage, and turned around. Yeah, I'm fine. Are you tired, Paul? Let's get you some water. Oh, take it easy. I'll do it myself. At Paul's panicked look, Zenith giggled and laughed in amusement. Even pregnant women aren't totally immobile, you know. Even if you say that, I'm a man, so I can't feel it. But I can tell just by looking at you that it's hard to move. Your belly is becoming more and more noticeable. I'm kind of nervous about it. I'm not quite ready to give birth yet, but it's better to be in a place where you can rest as soon as possible, right? Paul scratched his head and pulled out a map for the Kingdom of Asura that was in his luggage. My hometown is around here, Millbots. It seems like my brother is lord there now. Is that where we're going? No, absolutely not. Never. He said it clearly without hesitation. There was no way that he'd ever go back to his homeland that he had abandoned, let alone introduce Zenith and his unborn child to his brother. Yeah. We're going this way. Patoa region? It's ruled by the Boris Grey Rat family, my mother's birthplace. And the Lord is my mother's brother. Paul's uncle? What's he like? Well, we only saw each other a few times when I was a kid, but we didn't know each other very well. He's bold at best and boisterous at worst. Well, that's not who I'm relying on. The second son of the Lord, my cousin, Philip. Got his boy Philip gonna help him out. My boy Philip gonna help him out. There was no guarantee that his cousin would even help him. Paul had abandoned his home and fled the country. The man who left his noble family behind was unlikely to receive a warm welcome upon his return. Zenith, who was a noble lady in Millis, knows this well. Don't be too hard on yourself, okay? With Paul, we can live anywhere. I see. Well, he'll at least listen to me. He won't turn me away at the door. Still, Paul couldn't shake off the anxiety. The last time he saw him, Philip and Paul were still children, and he didn't know what kind of adult he had become. I can't help but wonder what he's doing, Paul thought. After all, we have to meet him. Paul and company passed through the Millbots territory and headed straight to Patoa. The destination was the largest town in the territory, the fortress city of Roa. Many adventurers visited this place and gathered a lot of information. Paul's information on the Greyat family was outdated because he had been away from the Kingdom of Asura for a long time. First, he decided to investigate the situation of the Boris Grey Rats. A dining place where adventurers gathered. After buying a few drinks, the man called himself a B-rank adventurer, blabbered on about the Boris Grey Rats. The head has been replaced? It's not Sorosama anymore?
Oh, about a year ago, I think, the succession struggle between the sons had settled.
A succession struggle?
The brothers, James and Philip, fought, and James the one who won. So now the head is James Boris Grey Rat.
James Boris Grey Rat. Unlike Philip, he had little interaction with him because of their age difference. He remembered how blatantly disrespectful he was when they met at the party to celebrate Paul's birthday. Just remembering it made him angry. But Paul knew there was no time to be indignant. If Philip, whom he had relied on, had lost the battle, could he really afford to lend a helping hand to Paul? On the other hand, it was hard to believe that he could have counted on James.
Yeah, no, big exit out there. Don't even bother there. He'd probably have you sent off to your family.
Philip is the only one that I can think of.
Excuse me?
No, nothing. What's the younger brother doing after losing to the older brother? They don't live in the same house, do they?
Of course not. What are you talking about? You don't know anything about anything, do you? Are you really an adventurer?
Oh yeah, I'm an adventurer.
Well, you're still young. All right, I'll tell you. Philip Boris Grey Rat is here in the fortress city of Roa. Surprise, surprise. As the mayor.
The mayor? Yes. Now I know where to find him. Thank you for telling me.
Oh, is this good?
Of course. Paul put coins on the table and left the dining room with Zenith. Then they went straight to the largest building in the center of Roa, the Lord's Manor. It's a magnificent building. The city of Roa served as the last line of defense in the war against the demons 400 years ago. That's why it should actually be called a castle, even though it's called a manor. A gatekeeper stood at the entrance of the Lord's Manor. Paul approached the gatekeeper, who had a quizzical look on his face, and called out to him. I want to see Philip Boris Grey Rat.
What are you talking about? A man like you couldn't possibly see him.
Yes, I can. Tell him your cousin, Paul Notus Grey Rat, has come to see you. I don't think Paul ever wanted to say that name ever again. Tell him... Paul Notus Grey Rat. He said the name that he should have given up. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to connect to him. The gatekeeper could not disregard the name of Grey Rat. Chapter 19. They had to wait for a while, but Paul and company managed to get to the parlor of the manor. Paul? Philip's eyes were cold. He never looked at him like this before, even though they attended the same school together and had become friends in their own way. Not at all like I remembered, Paul thought, but I guess that's true. It's been nearly a decade since we last saw each other. They could not remain in the same relationship as they were before. He could not think naively that he would be reliable or that they were close. Paul bowed deeply to Philip, faster than he could respond. I have to have a stable life. Please, give me some kind of job. What? I have no idea what's going on. All I know is that you left your country. Please explain to me step by step. Right. Paul told him everything that had happened ever since he ran away from home. That he went on a journey with slum children and lived at a training dojo. He became an adventurer. He made friends. He did a lot of things. And he fell in love with one woman. Then he told the story how she got pregnant and they came back to the kingdom of Asura. I see. She is indeed pregnant. I mean, it is good that you came back to the kingdom of Asura, but you can't go back to the Notos. From where you left off, leaving behind a mess. So, you come to me. Is that it? I'm begging you. You're the only one I can ask. He could see Philip was puzzled. Paul knelt down and bowed his head. I want a peaceful place where I can live with my family. Paul! The countries may be different, but the meaning of the act was the same. It was a greeting that a villager or a craftsman would make, not something a noble, even a formal one, and the prideful Paul would do. Zenith could clearly see the contempt in Philip's cold eyes, even though Paul, who had his head bowed, could not see it. You think a man who'd given up his family name, his responsibilities, and has lived a life of selfishness could live so peacefully now? Thomas, show them. Philip looked at the butler. Just as Zenith realized that they were going to be kicked out, bang, the door of the room was thrown open with a loud clash. I think they implied that before, right? I seem to remember that they did point out that it was specifically Saros. I mean, Saros is the one that has the power, technically. I mean, there's a bit here that Saros has a lot of power still. I mean, he's the one that ends up being on the chopping block at the end. I seem to remember that it was Saros, because again, there was that whole thing about how Saros seen Paimon as weak. He wanted Paul to take it. So there was a lot of my thought process that could have been that he was hoping that eventually Paul would go back there. I freaking love Saros. I hate the fact that he died that day. Oh, it sucks. Saros entered the parlor at a leisurely pace and looked down at Paul, who was down on his knees. Well, if it isn't Paul. Saros-sama, it's been a long time. You've grown up. But, as usual, you don't seem to know how to greet people. Is that the greeting of a prosperous Asura noble? There was no hostility or mockery in Saros' voice. Paul did not raise his head, though he knew his voice was loud and imperious from the start, since I, as it is, am not related to Asura nobility. You fool! If you had nothing to do with Asura nobility, I would not even allow you to step into this mansion. Paul looked shocked at Saros' rebuke. However, he still remained on his knees and continued to bow his head. All right, there is saying that I let you in. Why are you here? Why are you shocked that Saros is here? I let you in the door, boy. It was impossible to say that he had nothing to do with it, as long as he was using the name of the Notos Grey Rat to get in the parlor. It was too unbecoming and embarrassing. If it had been Paul alone, he would have left quickly, saying that he had no use for him if he didn't give him a job. But I know I'm doing something that is absurd, so... Absurd? You're absurd, huh? You got that from your father, from Amaranth. At the mention of his father, Paul's face contorted. Even though he was dead, he still felt something for him. And again, he's got to stomach it. You're coming here. You're back to your family. They're going to bring it up. Even more so, since I'm having a child, Paul thought. It hurts more. He's starting to quickly understand what it means to be a father, even though his child's not there yet. He's connecting to his father in a different way. Every time he thought he would never be that kind of father, Amaranth's face flashed in his mind. The man hated anything that didn't make sense. He was stubborn, rigid, and a pain in the ass. What on earth did Valentina like about that Amaranth? Valentina, Paul's mother, was Saros' sister. They did not look much like each other. However, he was to buy the book. It was the same when we drank together in his mansion about 5 years ago. He wanted to divide the contents of the bottle equally. Isn't that kind of normal? Is that normal? I don't care if it's supposed to be good. It was a bad bottle of booze. He said, even if you say this wine is bad, and you don't want to drink it, I think it's bad too. And if someone pops the cork, it's only polite to drink it. Saros' long story began. The words spewed out incessantly and unstoppable.
I'm like, what is this story? What are we doing right now? Chapter 20. Philip's brow was furrowed and his mouth was shut, while Zenith looked on with rapt interest. Paul was on his knees, his face downcast, tough on himself and others, Paul thought. And that's why stop, sorry. Tough on himself and others, Paul thought. And that's why you said he was a man you could trust? You mean the way the man looked at me and the way he looked at Saros-sama are two different things? While Saros was talking, Philip was looking at Paul, but his eyes seemed to be working somewhere far away. I didn't expect him to be gone so soon. Maybe Valentina called him. Don't you think so too, Paul? I have no idea. But he didn't take care of what he had to before he died. His successor. He has left the Notos. No worthy successor. And now he is dead. The first son is a fool who ran away from home. The second son is a mean and petty man. There's no heir who can carry on the Greyrat family. Paul, would you like to take it back? Remove Palamon, Notos Greyrat, and have Paul take over? Greyrats are military aristocrats. The title of S-rank adventurer is not dishonorable. Yeah, Paul heard that one before. Paul heard that one before. The fact that you're S-rank, that's good. We can use that. Paul, if you want to be the head of the family, I can help you. Paul huffed as he stared at the floor. After letting the son of Boreas fight for the heir, now you want the Notos to do it? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. But again, he sees that family is falling apart. But I can see this being like sort of one of those little moments of like temporary. Yeah. I mean, if I had that, she'd have everything that she needs. But again, I don't want her in that. She doesn't want to be in that. She doesn't want to be in the aristocrat. She left that. I don't want to be in that. But more importantly, I don't want my son to deal with that. Again, he told Rui to stay away from that. This old man is too belligerent. He was belligerent, daring, and eager to get involved in anything that looked interesting. In Saros, Paul felt a kinship of blood. But his answer was obvious. I want to live a peaceful life with my loving wife and my yet-to-be-born child. How dare you hope for peace at such a young age? You are not yet ready to wither. Please, leave it at that. He doesn't seem to have any intention of taking the reins of the head of the family, and I don't intend to carry Paul either. Feckless bastards. Paul and Philip did not like his reply, and Saros threw up his hands in disgust and walked out of the reception room. I just want to see if you'd fight. I'm out of here. You guys are boring. Philip called for the butler. I believe a resident knight of Buena Village just died the other day in a battle with the monsters. This man is good with a sword. Let's leave it to him. Paul raised his sight with a start and gazed up at Philip with a look of surprise on his face. Philip, as for your status, you'll belong to lower ranked nobility. It's a rural life in a remote village without even a market. But you don't mind that, do you? Of course, I don't mind. I'm indebted to you. Paul smiled a delighted smile and bowed his head again. Thank you. Oh, as you were. Philip stopped Zenith, who was about to bow next to Paul, by lifting his hand. I won't do anything more for you, but please give birth to a healthy child. Yes, I promise. What changed his mind? What changed his mind? I guess seeing the fact that Paul was there and didn't want anything. He was there and he didn't want anything. And he was given a chance at something, and he still said no. Philip was caught up in a fight with his brothers, and it costed him his family. Paul's given the opportunity to fight for something, and it would have costed his family, and he chose to walk away from it. I wonder if that's part of it. Zenith nodded, smiling. Paul lifted his knees off the floor and stood up. And how did you manage to catch such a beautiful woman? Apparently, you haven't changed your old taste. Don't look at someone else's girl's ass. Huh? I wasn't looking. Paul, that's a strange thing to say. They're going back to how they were. They're going back to how they were. Paul, that's a strange thing to say. Generally speaking, the moment you get a job, you don't change your attitude like you're getting a palmful. Philip said dismissively and rubbed the crease between his eyebrows. Paul and Zenith were cuddling up next to each other, and Philip grumbled that Paul, regardless of the process, I can't believe that you found the right person to be your wife, and you're even having a child. Even I'm impressed that you have grown up so much. No? What's that? I'm not that much older than you. We went to school at the same time. We used to have a lot of fun back then. Philip's eyes narrowed with a smile on his lips. He's thinking about back when the times were simpler. Since I lost the battle with my brother, my days have been boring. My work in Roa has been dull and uninteresting. I denied it, but I see how it could be fun to join forces with you, take over the reins of the Notos, and fight against James, just as my father said. I won't do it. I know. We can't go back to being friends. That's why I'm trying to get you a job as a resident knight. I can only help so much. I will not help you any other way from now on. If life gets tough, then don't run away again. Damn. Again, from Phil's perspective and their perspective, Paul ran away from his responsibilities.
And his role, Philip has always been there. He fought, lost, always stayed in this role. Whatever role he was given, Paul ran away. And now Paul just shows back up and says, please give me something again. What, so you can run away again? You're going to run away again? I thought it would be, yeah, there was that thought there. We can go and take over the family, whatever, but would you run away again? I would never do such a thing. That time, when I ran away from home, I had nothing. But now, I have everything I need. Paul took Zenith's hand and laced their fingers together. She was embarrassed, but did not shake it off, and rather, squeezed it back. I have something now. Back then, I lost my mom. His mom was his only thing that he had back there. He lost everything back. He didn't have anything. Chapter 21, the final chapter. After that, Paul was assigned to the village of Buena in the Fatoa region as a resident knight, and he and Zenith settled there. Within the kingdom of Asura, he called himself a Grey Rat because of a large number of pro-troll nobles. None of the villagers believed that Paul was a member of the main family of Notos Grey Rat. I can't say there aren't problems, but it's a nice, quiet, peaceful village. And this house that Philip-sama has prepared for us is very fine. Whatever the case, you guys are still friends. I hope so. Anyways, so what are the problems? The birth will be soon. It would be better to solve those problems before that. Paul asked with a serious face, and Zenith also put on a serious expression. It's hard to solve, but will you listen to me? Yes, of course. You know, a newly appointed resident knight. He is a very handsome and reliable man. He's so attractive that all the women of the village will be after him. He loves women. That's why his wife is so worried that her husband might look away. That's certainly a problem. But don't worry, I'll be fine. The resident knight loves his wife tremendously. He loves her so much that he thinks she's more important than his own life. Stop it! Stop it! And it's a miracle that he met her. I'm so thankful to God for the miracle of meeting you. Then you can rest assured. I'm sure your wife is so grateful to St. Millis. Paul looked at Zenith in his arms and gently kissed her lips. Hey, Zenith, what is it? Thank you for being my family. He got what he had wanted ever since he was a child, and it slipped from his fingers, all thanks to her. Paul lived in the village of Buena, hand in hand with Zenith, savoring his happiness every day. In the midst of his peaceful days, some unexpected things happened, such as meeting Lydia again, with whom he had a troubled relationship in the past, and hired her as a maid. Eventually, Zenith gave birth, and year 407 of the Armored Dragon calendar, the long-awaited first son was born to the Grey Rat family, the resident knight of Buena Village, Fatoa region, king of Asura. The name given to him was Finn. It doesn't want to say what is Rudy as Grey Rat. It just says Finn at the end. His name given to him was Finn. And that is Paul Gaiden. My gosh. What a great ending to it. I mean, it's the expected ending to it, but it was kind of cool to see Philip sort of struggle for a minute there. Saros comes in, gives him the opportunity to take on the family, says no. I don't want that. Again, I'm surprised he doesn't get into it. No, I don't want to be involved with nobles. I don't want to be involved. Stop. I don't want to be involved with that. It's funny because he's not necessarily saying, I don't want to be involved with nobles, because he's getting involved. He's invoking his name. He's using the name of his family in order to get in there. He's still a part of it, no matter what he says. So you can't really kind of just spit in their face and say, I don't like nobles. No. You say, no, I don't want to be involved. Don't want to be involved. Don't want to be involved. I just want a place that I can stay. Please, I need this help. I think there's still a part in Philip there where he's like, I remember my old friend. Okay. I'll help you out. It's still cool in the end. Wasn't as grandiose as I kind of expecting. Actually went into a lot more than I should have expected, but yeah, dirtbag in the end. Paul, the dirtbag in the end. I hate how he broke up his friendships and everything with his party. It feels so bad. Anyhow, that is Paul Gaiden. That is the journey of Paul Grey Rat, the dirtbag, as he grew up, went out, did horrible things, became an adventurer, and then settled down with Zenith. It all comes to conclusion. In the end, I am not as impressed as I thought I was going to be. Like, I was massively excited about Paul Gaiden. I know that me going to Paul Gaiden immediately after the mainline series kind of tipped a couple people off. Like, man, you should do this one. I'm not going to make everybody happy. But I was personally excited for it. I love Paul's character, and so I was excited to get this kind of, from birth to the point of being the father of Rudius Grey Rat. I was excited for that story. That's the story that I wanted to get into. And granted, yes, we ran into quite a few snags where it was seemingly inconsistent with the original source material, which does kind of bug me in the end to kind of see those things, to kind of think, is this really even worth it to even read?
But I think in the end, I still had a lot of fun. I think quite a few points in here, especially everything around Amaranth. As much as I got super mad around that character, it's some good stuff. Getting into Paul, how he's kind of evolved over time, being a brat, going out on his own, having all these struggles, and eventually settling down was a great story in the end. Seeing Fangs of the Black Wolf and how they built up to the point where they had this big falling out upon Paul leaving. That stuff was super, super interesting. So in the end, I still enjoyed it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it with me. I think it turned out to be a much longer journey than I thought it was going to originally be. And that's mainly because, as I said at the very beginning, I don't like breaking down dialogue. Like if there is a quote, somebody saying something, I don't like shortening that stuff. And since this is mostly all that, it turned out to be, I had to pretty much read everything. But it turned out fun in the end. Hopefully people found it enjoyable. I know that a lot of people never really experienced it before. And so hopefully my voicing and whatnot at least brought it to life for everybody. And again, I hope in the end, because this was such an interesting story, I hope that eventually Refugium would sit down and flesh it out. I don't think he will at this point, because this is here, and he's apparently done snippets here and there of their story. I don't know if they ever will, but it would be cool. It would be very cool to kind of see this fleshed out from his perspective, because I think this writer did well, but I think there's just areas where he could have done so much better. Like, for example, I really do think the point in which Paul decides, I want family, I think that flip was a bit too quick. It went straight from, we get that impression that he's in Doki Doki Love, they're doing missions together, and then bam, he lays it out. I want a family. I just realized I want a family. Okay, this is a big change for his character. How did we get to this conclusion? It was a little bit of a jarring thing. If I put it in the tier list, we can tier list it, right? We can throw it in the tier list. I don't know. There might be some people that think that's like sacrilege or something. You're not allowed to put that alongside everything else. It'd be like low D. Like I'd be breaking into E territory with this one compared to the other light novel series. Again, the light novels, them compared to each other, and then having this, it's like down here. It is definitely it's definitely nowhere near Refugium's caliber. Because Refugium, I think there's a thing that's sort of missing here, and it's probably partially due to the fact that they had to do a visual novel and a mobile game that had to be published on a platform. There's probably a bit of this that they had to hold back. Like, there's probably a lot of stuff that they would love to have done, like much nastier stuff, much more details about how that whole thing unraveled with Lilia, even though it was still even then unsettling. I think they could have probably gotten a lot deeper with that stuff, a lot more brutal with a lot of this stuff, but they probably held back. And I think with Refugium, if he were to write it, he would have gotten much more nasty with this stuff. And again, that's the stuff that I like. I like how he doesn't really hold back with all this stuff. But yeah, it's probably more like an F area. It's just, again, compared to the other light novels, like if I'm thinking like what I have in, I think, the D territory, it's nowhere near that stuff. But I mean, it could still go up there somewhere. It's not that bad. I still enjoyed this stuff. I think I mentioned earlier, I do plan on, I think from Paul Gaiden, I might jump into one of the like redundancy chapters or whatever, one of the redundancies, jump into one of those. I had originally planned to go right into Volume 12, Part 2, the Paul's perspective chapters for that stuff, but I think I want to take a break from Paul. I think this has taken so long to go through Paul Gaiden that I want to take a break. I want to take a break from it, go do some other stuff, and then come back to that. I think it'll be good. Plus, I did snoop inside of the extra chapters for Volume 12, and I'm going to have to kind of look into it quite a bit because there's segments of it that I don't really want to necessarily go through because there are a lot of like rehashing of Volume 12, and I don't want to just rehash that stuff. I want to figure out what are the exact chapters that are new and just focus on those rather than dig through everything again. But I hope you guys will join me for it. But as per usual, greatly appreciate you guys' support, your kind words, everybody that joined me through the journey through Paul Gaiden. Again, I knew that most people were going to drop off and wait for me to get around to the ODTs and the redundancy and all that kind of stuff. Those that stuck around, the true crew, thank you for joining me. It was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for your support as always. Your kind words and everything makes a great deal to me. And having you guys along with the journey is what made it what it was. And it still continues to make Mushoku Monday what it is. But I greatly appreciate you guys' support, your kind words, all the things you guys do for me. Like button, hit the like button. And yes, greatly appreciate everybody that supports channel monetarily through Patreon, tips, links, super thanks, memberships, all that stuff. It means a great deal to me. But until the next Mushoku Monday, y'all take care. The Fangs of the Black Wolf found a place where they could rest easily. The Fangs of the Black Wolf found a place that they could rest easily.
The fangs of the Black Wolf found a place they can rest. The fangs of the Black Wolf found a place they could rest safely. It would have been nice if it was as formal as a real triumphal parade. What? I'm coming. What do you mean, coming? Zenith uttered the question, but arrived at an answer without needing to be told. It's coming. What do you mean, coming? Zenith questioned,